righty, seeing that we have a quorum, thanks for coming, everybody. I'd like to call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. on November 27th, 2023. All right, we're gonna kick off like usual with announcements. We're technically on time. It says announcements 7:05. Somebody anticipates that we'll be late. Very good. Okay. Wednesday, November 29th at 10:30 a.m., Veterans Agent James McCrae joins Coffee and Chat with the Council on Aging Coordinator Kim D. at the Community Center. Join us for a hot cup of coffee or tea and friendly conversation. The Council on Aging is hosting a program called Heartbeat Holidays on Wednesday, November 29th at 1:30 p.m. at the Community Center. Harpist Susan Wright Reagan will play a selection of music entitled Childhood Memories, Holidays Around the World, and the Winter Solstice. All are welcome. RSVP to Kim at 978-264-1717 to let her know you'd like to come. The Office of Land Use and Permitting and the Economic Development Committee are seeking qualified applicants to serve as an intern in the Office of the Land Use and Permitting. The Economic Development intern will have the opportunity to administer an exciting business improvement grant and to network between the town and local businesses. Remote work may be allowed. The salary for this position is $14.86 per hour. All qualified candidates are encouraged to send a resume, cover letter, and standard application to awade@boxborough-ma.gov. So that's Alec Wade's email address. You can find it on the town planners page of the town's website. Use the subject line, Economic Development Intern. The position will remain open until filled, with interviews beginning this Friday. So I have a quick question. What makes you a qualified candidate? Do you know? Anybody know?
There's a job description there, isn't there?
Oh, is there a job description on the website?
Not specifically for the intern. I believe Alec and Rich have like a guideline of what they're looking for an intern that they're using for the interviews for the candidates they have.
Alrighty, if you know someone or you're interested in being the intern, take a look at the town planner's website. If you don't see a job description or a description of what a qualified candidate might be, send Alec an email. You know where to find it. The annual tree lighting will be held on December 2nd at the Old Town Center, which is the corner of Middle Road and Hill Road, starting at 4:30 p.m. There will be a visit from Santa and cookies and hot chocolate. And that is always fun. And we sing songs and the band plays, and it's a good time. The Boxborough Fire Department will once again collect new unwrapped toys for the Toys for Tots program. Donations are already being accepted. I was at the fire station, the box is half full, so let's fill that box. The last day for donations is December 9th. That comes up fast, so definitely get your donation over there. I was asking why so early, and the fire chief explained it has to do with when they have to drop it off at the Marine Center, the collection centers, and then how they get it out. So I think I've shared before, I'm always late. Don't be late, December 9th. As I continue to read, unfortunately, there is no flexibility with the date. The fire department appreciates the continued generosity of the Boxborough community. Santa is returning to town on Sunday, December 17th from 9 to 11, escorted in a Boxborough fire engine and other public safety vehicles. A schedule of stop locations will be published closer to the date on the town's website and the fire department's Facebook page. We'll be collecting food for the food pantry during Santa's trip around town. Any questions can be sent to Captain Jason Malinowski at jmalinowski@boxborough-ma.gov. Same thing, if you want to email Jason, go to the website. Community service has started. We've started holiday support for Boxborough residents. Please consider donating gift cards, Market Basket, Target, Walmart, Visa gift cards to help fellow citizens in need. You can contact Wendy Trinks at the town hall or by email at wtrinks@boxborough-ma.gov. Same thing, community service webpage if you'd like to help. Now, this is something Community Services does in concert with Blanchard. So if you've already received this, this information, if you've got a kid at Blanchard, it is kind of all the same program, just supporting local families in need, or local singles in need, local people in need. Alrighty, last but not least, public input shall be taken at the beginning of each meeting with 30 minutes allocated on the agenda. People who wish to speak will be asked to raise their hands at the beginning of public input so all can be recognized. The assistant TA will make a list of people who wish to speak. All attempts will be made to alternate between anyone physically in the audience and those attending on Zoom. Each person will have 3 uninterrupted minutes to speak to the board. If questions are asked, the town administrator will follow up or post to a future agenda as appropriate. If we can answer the question, if it's something we can answer in real time, that's great, but if it's something that's gonna violate the open meeting law, then we'll have to push it off, just so everyone understands why. Each person will be allowed to speak once per meeting for public input. If more than 8 people wish to speak at any one meeting, and if time allocated is reached, we'll move public input, we'll continue it at the end of the meeting to allow the board to adhere to our agenda timeline. This is out of courtesy to those who have been assigned times to meet with the board and to allow for the work of the town to be completed in a timely manner. It also will ensure that anyone who wishes to speak will have the opportunity to do so. So, all right, any other announcements from the board?
I guess I'll begin with that, Kristen. One of the things that we've been discussing for quite some time now, actually, is the openings that we have in the various committees. So I went through the information that was provided by Becky on all the different committees to
Becky
identify.
Harris.
Thank you very much,
Well,
Becky
there's a lot
Harris,
of Beckys.
as opposed to Becky Neville, right? And so I provided that over to Kelly and the folks here. So I want to kind of identify that and go down that list for anybody that happens to be watching on the TV or is watching this through streaming. But right now, to the best of my knowledge, the Acton-Boxborough Cultural Council has many openings. If anybody is interested in that, the Conservation Commission has 2. Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion has 3. Economic Development has 1. The Finance Committee has 1. Historical Commission has 3. Land Stewards, many. Public Celebrations, many. Recreation Commission, 1. Steel Farm Advisory, many. And Zoning Board, 1 alternate. So what I was, with the chair's permission, I would like to have the various chairs come in at each of the meetings during these announcements and talk about their committee and what the committee does, how much of a time, what they're looking for people, what the time commitment is. 5 minutes, 2 slides, just to be able to let everybody know what's going on. So hopefully we can, pick up some of the interest from people and close up some of those openings.
I think that's a great idea. I think if people know what the different committees do, and actually when I look at it, I'm like, oh my gosh, those are like the fun committees. No, I'm serious. Those are like the land and, yeah, no, definitely. I think it'd be great. No issue here. Mike, thoughts, team?
Yeah, that'd be fine. We can schedule those on and take them in that order, and unless there's any other particular order, and we can reach out to those committee chairs and.
I'm happy to reach out to the committee and tell you, okay, so-and-so is signed up for this one or that one.
Great.
I'm okay with doing that.
So if we did 1 chair a meeting, it would take us 5 months to get through everybody. So
pretty
what do you
much.
think about 2 or 3 a meeting? Because 5 minutes each, 15 minutes? I heard someone whisper too many. What?
Yeah,
Well, no, I just think 5 months.
No,
if we
no,
do
you're right.
one
It
every other
is going to
week.
take a long time, but if people see it, two,
two.
I'm fine with that.
Then it would
If
only
we get
take
2
2.5
people to sign up,
All right.
that works.
Well, we'll just do it at the beginning of the meeting?
Sure.
So they know what time they've got. We'll even do it before public input. We'll do it before everything.
So-
Actually, if we do it before public input, if people have questions, they would be able to ask
So,
those people.
so for historical context, we have done that before, and we called it committee spotlight.
Ooh, I like
Given by
that.
the fact that nobody here knows about it, means that clearly it didn't work, or the people that were,
Okay.
the people that are watching these meetings are the people that are already on these committees and involved. And so maybe a different way would be to ask them to create either a quick ad or some sort of thing that you can post on social media that can be shared, as that has a wider audience than our meetings, and it may be more effective use of their time as well as our ability to use the town's social media presence to promote them.
I like the idea of utilizing the social media, and I also like the idea of somebody coming in and kind of being in front of the board here for 5 minutes, 2 slides.
No, I get that, but so like they're putting that time into the slides, and then we don't have anything that we can use on social media.
No,
Right.
you can use the slides on social media, no?
They don't really translate
I
very
really
well.
know.
I was pointing at Kirby. It wasn't us.
So, I mean, like,
The man behind the curtain, okay.
like, I mean, if we just took a screenshot of that and posted it, but like giving somebody, just saying, giving us an image or a graphic that briefly describes it, kind of like what you might see in like the Boxborough Bee or something like that, just a quick one-pager, because then it forces them to be succinct. We can provide them an example so that it takes less time, but those are just, that would be my suggestion.
Tell you what, I can offer a compromise.
I mean, I don't care, they can come here, but I just,
Well, you have the advantage, Wes, if you probably already have met a lot of these people. Like, I know, even just from appointments, we met people briefly. Like, I don't know them as well, so I like the idea of them coming in. But what my offer is that I've got someone on staff who's really good at Canva. So if they give me their PowerPoint, I will have that turned into a Canva, like whatever she does. I'm not a techie, so that it's social mediaable. How about that? Is that a compromise? So at least we get it all.
So you're suggesting they come in, but you also take the information?
I will
for
take whatever they make
Yeah, yeah.
and have it put into a social media ready format.
No, I think that's great. I think that works. I would like to, I mean, it's just a quick presentation. I would like
Well,
to
I
see
don't
the
want to
people.
stress
I
them
don't know.
out.
I don't know
Let's not stress them out.
anybody.
Doesn't have
you
to- we don't have to call it a presentation, but come on in.
know. 2 slides to talk to. Right?
Okay.
I mean, that's kind of what I think would be beneficial to provide. And
Okay.
plus, I mean, maybe everybody knows everybody that heads committees. I don't. So this is an opportunity for me to interact with them as well.
All right. Like I said, I think it's fine.
And if the idea doesn't work, we throw it out. But,
Well, no. I think it's, like I said, I think it's that combination and,
but I think you're also trying to solve two different problems. The one problem you're stating is you don't know the people on the committees, and the other problem is they have needs of members. And those are not necessarily solved by the same thing. I don't care, but just call it what it is.
no, I actually see that as solving both. If I wouldn't know the chairman of the historical commission, if I was standing next to them at the grocery store, like having them just come in and say, hey, select board, this is our board, nice to see you. You weren't the ones that appointed me, so I don't necessarily expect you to know me. And this is who I am, and I'll get to know them a little bit, and a little bit about what their belief and needs for their committee is. So I actually think it does serve both.
But I think that's a secondary gain. What
Right,
you're
well, the
referring to.
primary thing is that you need volunteers. So as they're getting the townspeople to know a little bit more about their committee and them, we're benefiting from that, is I guess what I'm saying. Because I'm not gonna go on social media.
Perfect.
I'm never on
Agreed.
social media. I'm not gonna see it. So I like the idea of meeting people.
Okay, great. Last thing I would mention is that I'll be having the office hours on the 6th, Wednesday
Next
morning.
Wednesday?
I have spoken with Mark White, who has indicated he would like to join me or be available at about the same time. So it could
As the
be
planning board chair?
as the planning board chair. So if there are any planning board questions, he would be available as well.
Well, isn't that a double?
Well, that's what he said, so
Double mint kind of
hopefully,
situation.
hopefully that would work, but.
Two for the price of one.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
Okay, that's it for me.
Beautiful. Any other announcements? No? All right, let's start with the, next on the agenda is the town administrator's report, so and updates, so we'll start with Mike.
Okay, I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have one update, and that is, back in July, the board met in executive session and voted for myself to do an audit and collect any overpayments from the police education dating several years back. I have started that audit. That was back in, I believe, July. Subsequently, in October, the board and I received a letter from the Office of the Inspector General recommending that we do the same thing that we're already in the process of doing. So with the permission of the board from the last executive session, I made a response on behalf of the board telling them that was our intention. And since that time, we were contacted by NBC 10, who met with myself and at least one other member of the community last week, and I understand that piece aired about an hour before this meeting. So anyways, I just want to let the board and the community know that that audit is underway, and we'll publish those results when they're done, and then be in pursuit of collection of all outstanding payments. That being said, there is one piece of that case that is in arbitration. It was supposed to go to an arbitration hearing in October. That was that was delayed. It's going to be in January, so more to come on that.
Sure, thank you.
And I know Rajan has an update on recruitment, but that's all for me.
Well, let me just make one comment on that. I know there were some very frustrated citizens that felt that we weren't moving fast enough, that we weren't doing it, that suspected that we weren't going to try to collect the money at all. And, you know, it's one of those situations that's hard because it was legal, you know, we had to do everything in executive session. We couldn't talk about it. We couldn't even talk to our spouses about it, for goodness sake. So I appreciate everybody who had the patience to wait. You are going to see the news report. I read the news brief, and they do make it sound like the Office of the Attorney General made us do this. I just want to assure everybody that this board inherited the problem. We worked on the problem, and we believe we are well on the way to solving the problem. We just couldn't talk about it. So we also, you know, I also apologize to the residents that did get upset about the time it was taking and the fact that they didn't feel that they were getting the information that they wanted. I empathized with the sentiments, but unfortunately there wasn't anything else we could do. So, but we are well on the way to solving that problem. Ray John.
So I just wanted to give a quick update on the town accountant / finance director recruitment. So immediately after special town meeting was concluded, I reached out to 3 executive search firms and asked them about, one, just pricing as well as their availability to do a search. How we planned on doing the search with a recruiting firm, the rationale behind it was they have the connections, they know who, one is looking for the position, who would be the most qualified for the position, as well as they would be able to yield more candidates than we do. One thing we talked to, so out of the 3 firms, one of the firms said they only focus on assessment centers for fire and police officers. One did provide us pricing, and the other one we're waiting pricing for them. But what we plan on doing with the finance director / town accountant search is we plan on having them do the search. You'll do the background on the candidates, the financial backgrounds, and then we'll do the interview process. But the goal is for this position is we're going to essentially have the firm advertise it similar to like a chief financial officer type of recruitment. So we received pricing from one of the companies, and we're waiting pricing from the others, and then from there we're going to go ahead and get we're going to have the firm do the posting of the position and do the screening for the initial candidates and give us the best qualified candidates from the search that they conduct for the position.
Can you give us an idea of what the ballpark, what we've received so far? So what did the first company
It would be
give us
best,
for pricing?
it would probably be better not to discuss that
Oh,
until
because we're
we get
waiting
all
for the next one. Oh,
Right.
this is why you're the TA and I'm not, okay. Good job.
Rajan, just one question. If we go through the search firm, are we not allowed to post the position, or can we do it simultaneously?
They'll do the posting, the advertisement for us. So they'll essentially do the advertisement, they'll collect the applications, they'll do the screenings, they'll do the financial backgrounds for people's history, debt, things like that. And then from those screenings, they'll send us the best candidates for us to interview in-house.
However, we could also do any additional advertising, because this is our posting. We're having them do the work for us. But if we wanted to further put it on our website or put it out on social media, nothing prohibits us from furthering that, that.
So then what do? Funnel them back to the company that's doing all the background check and the culling, for lack of a better word?
Yeah, they would actually apply there, and then
Right.
they're going to screen a pool for us.
Okay, so we could still post and then just give directions on how to apply? Okay.
Right.
I think, why not hit it on all fronts?
Did you ask about pricing for subsequent searches or having to re-advertise in case a candidate is not suitable the first time?
We did
What,
not.
we have to go over the second round?
We asked for pricing for one round of recruitment.
Okay.
Is that something like an add-on later if we wanted to expand it?
We can inquire on that.
I think it's a good question to ask, just in case we do have to go back out again. You know, it may, I'd like to think there'd be a little discount the second time around.
They did indicate that for a CFO position, that's going to be the toughest recruitment outside of a TA or a chief's position. That's probably the toughest recruitment in the Commonwealth right now.
All right. Anything else from you guys?
The one other position that's going to be advertised tomorrow is the assistant accountant position. So we have, the job description was already done. We've just finished today the advertisement. We'll be doing that one ourselves.
Okay. All right. Any other reports or updates from the board?
What other open positions do we have across?
So we're advertising for firefighter EMTs, police officers.
Special reserve police officers.
Yep.
We've kept the associate town accountant, not the associate town planner open, and we just advertised for the EDC intern.
We do have two other openings that we will be looking to get filled, but not right away. One is a position that was vacated, supporting recreation and community services, but we're going to bring that to the annual town meeting. And the other position, we did receive notice that the administrative assistant in the Council on Aging is going to be leaving us middle of December to start the next chapter of her life. And so we're not planning to advertise that immediately. We want to look at what the needs are, and do we need to make some changes, and is there an opportunity with recreation, community services, and council on aging? So we want to make sure that rather than quickly advertise and fill exactly what we already have, that we're fulfilling the needs of the town.
So who's looking into that one, Mike? Is it like both someone from RecCom and Kim D kind of?
So I'm
Working on it
speaking,
together.
Rajan and I are speaking with Council on Aging, Kim, as well as RecCom on that, and Wendy in Community Services. So we're all working together to make sure we fill those needs.
Okay, we all set? All right, let's move on to public input. Is there anyone who would like to speak this evening? So we have two people in the audience. Anybody on Zoom? No. All righty. Do you guys want to do rock, paper, scissors? Ah! You're just going to push them out of the way?
I have a couple things. First, are we still looking for a fire chief? Because you didn't mention that when you talked about open positions.
Yeah, and I apologize for not mentioning it.
That's okay, I just wanted to make
Yes,
sure.
Yes, we are, and in fact, at the next meeting, I'm going to be giving the board an update on where we are with that.
Okay, great, thank you. And my other thing is, I got a phone call this afternoon that somebody said, is it really true we have 8 vacancies at the police department? I'm thinking, that can't possibly be right. We can't have 8 vacancies. I don't know. So I thought I would ask if at the next meeting, or I didn't even know he was going to be here, somebody could give an update on where we are with the police department and openings and vacancies. And I know that we bring new people in to get chatted up and stuff. But I remember when I used to sit on the board, we'd always take and put on file and accept with gratitude, resignations.
Mm-hmm.
I think we should go back to that, because I think people don't know who's here and who's not here anymore. Amanda Flowers, who is our only female officer left, but we haven't accepted it, and she's already gone. So it's not that we can accept her resignation and put it on file. I mean, I'm assuming we accepted it. I just think it should be a public announcement. So I would ask that you go back to that also. So that's all I got. You're looking at me like I'm crazy.
No, actually, I was gonna actually
I'm trying to figure
comment.
out what can I comment on with open meeting law. I'm like, what
Yeah.
can I say and what can I
No,
not
I think
say?
that you can even just take it up for the next meeting. I think if we can
Yeah.
know
Okay.
what our vacancy rate is, not just the police department, but all over, because now we've got 2 openings down, admins. But again, if we can just make sure that we accept resignations as they come in, that'd be great. Thank you.
Okay.
And if I could just comment.
If you don't break the law, that's fine.
Yeah, and I was actually, I wanted to respond, just that we did recently give an update on the status of the police department, because we have had quite a bit of turnover. In fact, we're going to be bringing 2 people on for appointment this evening, a reserve as well as a full-time police officer. But I think you raised some good ideas as far as, when we have a committee and commission and board, folks leave, we do accept their resignations with gratitude. And we do the same thing internally. Rajan and I do that along with the department heads, but there's no reason that we can't do that more publicly as well. Sometimes, with Cindy Regan leaving Council on Aging, she gave us 4 weeks' notice, which was wonderful. Often, we had one that was 3 days' notice recently, which is, it's a little hard to make a public announcement because somebody's already on to the next gig. Typically, it's 2 weeks, but we can certainly, do something towards that, that idea.
Speaking of taking things under advisement, I was late this afternoon. I saw for the first time. I saw your flag policy in the packet and the blue strike throughs and all that stuff. And I would ask that you, if it was your intention to adopt that this evening, that you don't, that you just take it under advisement, and maybe. Notify the departments and the committees, boards, commissions, and the public who might want to comment on it, that it's open for comment for another couple of weeks or till next month or something. Thank you.
And Owen, are you going to be here when we pick that up and you can express your concern about it, or do you want to do
I
that
thought
now?
you didn't do that anymore.
No, you got 2 minutes of every agenda item.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, no, you're welcome to talk to us about it now, or, because we're not doing flag policy till 8:30 or so.
I think it's, at
So if
least,
you have input, feel free if you don't want to hang out till 8:30.
well, for my mind, I don't want to hang out till 8:30.
All right then.
And for my mind, there's enough there. I can speak, Cemetery Commission, there's a bullet there at the end of one of the sections about flags at the cemeteries that's incorrect. And it's not blue lined or anything else, so if you adopt it tonight, it will go through and it'll still be incorrect.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
some other things about, I would like to comment on just personally about the things that are done for, whether you're a resident or a veteran or whatever. So there's a whole bunch of points there. I think that's, I didn't print it out. I think I would have had to download the whole darn packet. I don't know how to, so yeah. So anyway, that's my request.
Okay. All right. So first, one quick thing is that anybody who wants to speak to an agenda item, public input is for stuff that's not in the agenda. You just want to talk to us. That's great. Any agenda item, anybody who wants to speak will get 2 minutes. You get 3 minutes of public input. You get 2 minutes if you want to address an agenda item. I don't want anyone to think they can't engage with us. That's not what it's about.
Thanks. I guess I was going on something I heard a month or two or 4 ago.
ignore all
Yeah,
that.
Who
Yeah.
knows? But again, I couldn't get it done in 2 minutes on your agenda item, even if I had it
Okay.
all stricken through and printed out and everything, So I'd like to give my thoughts
Yeah.
in writing and maybe talking to a couple of his individually or whatever.
Sure. I think Mike has some input.
Yes, and I would save it for later, but since you'd like to depart and not wait till 8:30, I just want to give you a little bit of background on this. So there have been 3 communities in Massachusetts that have been forced by law into flying flags on their public buildings that they would not otherwise fly.
I'm familiar with the news report.
Right. So I'm gonna, when we get to that point, I'm gonna suggest to the board that they do adopt this policy to make some changes on, the flags that are allowed to fly at our public buildings. And then certainly if there's other public input desired, then we come back and make any other revisions. I will say that on November 14th, the board, as well as myself, received public input from a resident asking us to consider revisions to the policy. From then until now, I have gone back and revised the policy. We put this on the agenda. In fact, I think it was November 14th when I responded to that resident on behalf of the board and said that I would get together with Kristen, take it up with the board at a future meeting if it was the chair's desire. It was, so we put it on the agenda. We posted it on Wednesday to revise the policy. On Friday, 2 days later, we received an email, in fact, it went to the town clerk, from a lawyer on behalf of an organization desiring to fly a private flag on our public buildings. And so I would say that we did not plan for that, but I think it would be wise for us to adopt, if the board thinks that the suggestions are moving in the right direction, that we adopt that, and then go back and do further revisions as needed to correct any other inaccuracies. Because I just think that the public buildings, we should only be flying the flags that, that this board thinks are appropriate to be flying in the public.
Thank you for the update. Do what you got to do, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
All right, thanks, Owen. Bye.
And I'll put my chair in.
You don't have to, it's okay. Becky will do it. There we go. All right. Any other public input? No, my goodness. I was told that we were gonna have a full house tonight. Okay, let's move on to approval of minutes. November 13th minutes. Has everyone had a chance to take a look?
Yes.
Are there any revisions?
Yes.
Okay. Kelly, get your laptop.
So one of the items that's in there was related to, sorry, I'll bring this up, old business. The action was Economic Development Committee appointment reconsideration. It says the board noted that this item would be taken up at a later date. That's not what was stated by you, Madam Chair, at the meeting. What you said, in fact, was no need to address this tonight.
Yeah, we passed over it. We're not gonna be taking it up at a future date.
So it needs to be
I
clarified
missed
that we're
that.
not
Thank
taking
you.
that up.
Yeah, we
other-
passed over it. We
no other
passed over
changes.
the. So, all right, so just a little background on that. The person that asked us to reconsider asked us to remove it from the agenda. Another person that had asked in writing was notified that the initial person had said, please don't take this up, and that's why we passed over it. But I didn't want to make a big deal out of it, so. But it won't be coming back.
Can we move the minutes?
Yeah, we're gonna move as amended.
As amended.
Thank you, Dave. I didn't even notice that. I'm not gonna lie to you, I scanned. All right, anybody else have an edit? All right, then, I move to approve the regular session minutes of November 13th, 2023 as amended.
Second.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, Kelly. Okay, we have a couple of appointments. Now we're ahead of time. Let's see, Community Preservation Committee. Liz Markowitz has agreed to be on the Community Preservation Committee as the Conservation Commission representative. She is not here. Do you have anything to add to it?
I think she's terrific and she'd be wonderful, on there again.
And she filled in all her paperwork and did all the things she's supposed to do to be,
Yes.
okay, just want to make sure that we have all of that. Alrighty then, any discussion? I mean, Liz has been a longstanding community member, very active in, conservation plus, land stewards, all of those things, so I think she'd be a great representative. Any further discussion?
I would just comment that I agree. She has been outstanding for the town of Boxborough, and
Yeah,
it will be great to have her doing that.
absolutely.
And she has been in Conscom, right?
And she is the
Yeah,
past
yeah.
chair of that commission.
Yeah. Yeah, so she's,
Awesome.
she's the past chair of the Conscom? Really, what was that?
Yeah, she was,
Okay, well, that would be
Yes.
why, okay. I'm scrolling back too far in my head, I'm like, okay. I move to appoint Liz Markowitz to the Community Preservation Committee as the Conservation Commission representative with a term ending, June 30th, 2026.
Second.
Any further discussion? All right, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Liz, for volunteering for yet another committee. Okay, now we have a couple of new police officers to be appointed. Chief Shefchik, would you like to come up and introduce us? And I know they're on Zoom.
Absolutely, they're both here tonight on Zoom. This is
All right.
exciting. As was mentioned, recruitment is something that has been going very well. We put a lot of emphasis on it because we want to make sure when we get to bring somebody to you, they are vetted. They their background is, we run a very stringent background check on the officers that we hire, and they fit into our culture of accountability, transparency, and community service to the public. So when they get to you, which two of them are here tonight, and I'm very excited to introduce, and they're going to talk themselves, we think we're getting the best of the best, and that's really exciting. We're not down 8, we're down after tonight, we'll be down 2 officers. It is a challenging market out there, as we know. I know I provided you guys a report But we also have one additional reserve officer. So even though we're down, we'll be down 2 full-time officers, which, you know, we're doing a background check on another one right now. So we're getting there, we're building it back up, and we're only bringing out the best and the brightest. The first individual that we're, tonight is Mr. William Gorman as a reserve officer. Bill Gorman, he started his career in Massachusetts. He's a Massachusetts resident, started at Springfield College at the police department there, and Smith College. He was a supervisor, and then he went to Hartford, and he spent his career in Hartford. And he spent 15 years in the Hartford Police Department. Did a terrific job there. He was a member of the Marine unit on the dive team. He's also, before he became a police officer, was a member of the United States Army. Was an Army Ranger and a demolitions expert, so has quite a interesting career in the military before. And he retired a couple months ago, and that he's in Massachusetts, and was able to get him to come on as a reserve police officer. He has a beautiful family, wife, 2 children. He's moving on to a second career now in photography, which he's done for the last his own photography business. But he is going to stay on as a reserve police officer here for us in Boxborough. So I'm really excited to introduce Bill Gorman tonight. You have Mr. Turner. Bill Gorman is in the upper right there.
Oh, hey, Bill.
Hey,
Hi,
can
Bill.
everybody
You
hear
want to say
me?
a couple words?
There you are.
How are
There.
you,
Hey, Bill, did anybody
Hey,
tell
Bill.
you we don't have
How's
any
everybody
oceans, we don't
doing?
have any lakes, we got vernal pools. There will be no diving in Boxborough, I'm sorry. We got nothing, nothing.
How's everybody doing tonight? Can you hear me?
Turn it up a little bit. Or speak closer to your microphone.
Okay. How about now?
It's a little better.
My head's real big. Can you hear me?
Now
Better,
that's
yep.
much better. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay.
So did they warn you? We always we have our set questions. Anybody warn
Yeah,
you?
no, go ahead. Go ahead, fire away.
So what attracted you to Boxborough? What is it about Boxborough that made you want to be a reserve officer here?
Well, Boxborough, you have the openings, and it's a small knit community. I took a few drives through there, spent a little bit of time there. It seems like a nice small community, which I'm kind of looking for after being in a busy city for the past 15 years. Yeah, so that's pretty much, I have a lot to offer. And one thing, you have a hockey rink, so
We do have a hockey rink. We are a
you
big
do have a
town.
hocky rink.
Yes,
I
big hockey
still
town.
I still play now. I play 2-3 times a week. So
You play with
looking-
the old guys, no checking?
well, actually, it's supposed to be the old guys, but lately it's been a bunch of college kids. So.
Oh, no, they check. They're bad. They're terrible.
Yeah, so
They'll put you in the hospital.
but yeah, no, it's been going all right so far. So yeah, so it looks like you have a nice small community. Looking forward to getting to know everybody, and
What was
it
your
looks
favorite
like
part
a
of
place.
policing in the city? Like, what was
My
the
fav-
best part of your city job?
Well, when I started there, you could really interact with the community. I got the PAL hockey program going, the Police Athletic League. We started with 15 kids. I ended up with 82 kids at the end of the program. And unfortunately, they did away with the program, which was not good. Just working with the kids, working with the community, going in, speaking with business owners, that kind of thing, helping people out. I've changed tires in the middle of the streets, but lately that has gone away because, as the chief was saying, the departments are hurting for people. So we went from 200 patrol officers down to like around 68, 70.
No way.
So if you guys think you have it bad in Boxborough now, yeah, so it was, so anyways, we were getting forced double shifts 2-3 times, sometimes 4 times a week, plus holdovers, sometimes working triple shifts. And it's been like that for 3 years, and, I'm 56 years old. I'm in good health, but it does wear on you. So what went away with that was the community policing aspect of my job. Basically, we were going to just call after call after call, just constantly. So that's pretty much where that is.
Okay, that makes sense. Does anybody else have any questions for Bill?
So, or to the chief in that role, so how, as a reserve officer, how often would Bill be working?
So we have currently 4 reserve officers. Bill's the first reserve officer since I got here. And one thing that we're changing, and they all provide a valuable service to the town. However, any new reserve officers that are coming on, we've made it clear that they're expected to work at least 1 shift a week. Right now, they're really working details for the most part. Now, a lot of them have, in times, picked up shifts when we really need them, town details, but generally, they're working the details. They're working the private details, which are paid, which they like to work, and I understand that. A few of them, 2 of them are retired individuals, but they all do other things. I mean, the retired individuals bring a lot of institutional knowledge to the department. Other one's a retired supervisor in another department who has a lot of experience. The other 2 are current members. One does the first aid and CPR for the department. So they all bring a value add to the department, but I've made it clear that anybody new coming on, as much as they want to work details a few times a week, the private details, they are going to be expected to work at least 1 shift a week as a reserve officer, or I'm not going to bring anybody on who, isn't going to make that commitment. There's actually another person in the background process, and that's pretty standard, making sure they work, at least 1 a week, 3-4 a month. Again, they're reserve, a lot of them are retired part-time, so there'd be weeks they don't if they're on vacation or whatnot. But we want to get that, and somebody like Bill has a lot of experience, help train, help work with the younger officers as well that we're bringing on.
Okay, good, thanks.
Bill, do you have any experience in dispatch?
Dispatch? Well, not really.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, just trying to figure out where to put you where once a week. Okay. That'll be John's problem. All right. Any other welcoming statements or questions for Bill? No?
Oh, welcome.
Welcome.
Yeah, we're happy to have you
Foxborough, happy to
joining us.
Yeah, thanks a lot. And one thing I want to add is the chief and his staff's been like fantastic. Everything's been pretty smooth. Everybody that I've met up there, it's a daunting task hiring police these days. So I get his frustration. It's all over the country. So yeah, I can't wait to, I'm going to try to make it a point to meet everybody in your town. So
Perfect. We love that. Be an evangelist. If you know anybody else who wants to come work here. No.
I've been trying.
Bring it
I've
on.
been trying. So.
All righty. I move to appoint Officer William Gorman to the Boxborough Police Department with a term ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
All righty. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? All right. No turning back. Thanks, Bill.
No turning back. I'll probably see some of you tomorrow.
We hope so. In a good way.
Stop by. Okay. Thank you very much.
I want to make one note before you introduce the next officer. Once he gets introduced and you do your motion, your motion is going to be pending final paperwork. He's done his physical, he's done his drug screening, he's done his background check and all that. But rather than waiting a couple of weeks till your next meeting and not giving him a chance to start, we think we're within a day or 2 of having his paperwork. So it made more sense to do the appointment and then just hold actually giving him his appointment paperwork if you vote in favor until we have that, and we'll let you know as soon as we get it.
A little arrow where you want me to say it, so I'll do it right.
Okay.
Okay. Is it Mike or Michael?
Michael.
Mike's fine.
Okay.
Mike. All right. You do the
I've
intro,
got-
and you've got the advantage of being second. You know what we're going to ask you.
We are also very, very excited to bring forward Michael Turner to the select board for an appointment. Michael currently has quite a few years in law enforcement. He's currently been with Fitchburg State University, where he's an operations supervisor there as a sergeant, and also a second shift patrol sergeant as well. And before that, he worked with the Massachusetts College of Pharmacy and Health Services for about 8 years. He also was a reserve officer in a municipality for 11 years at the Winthrop Police Department. So he does have municipal experience. The last 8 or 9 years he's been at the college. He wants to get back into working for a municipal department. We are interviewed tremendously, great background, and we're really, really excited to to bring on Mr. Turner to the department. I think he's going to be a great asset. Again, a lot of years of experience, and I think it's going to fit in really well. Continually talked about commitment to the community, being transparent, being accountable, and you can talk yourself, Mike, because I'm going to talk all night. But a really good candidate we're bringing forward to you.
No, we appreciate that you're excited about both candidates. So, Mike, what attracted you to Boxborough?
Good evening. I'm sorry I couldn't be there this evening. I just have childcare issues this evening.
All good.
Well, several years ago, my wife and I, we moved from the town of Winthrop. We moved to Pepperell. So we had the opportunity to explore the area, kind of.
There's a
My
new
children
restaurant in
and I and
Pepperell
my
that
wife.
just opened up last week. You'll have to hit it up. I can't remember the name. It's right on the main drag.
We had we were able to visit some trails that are located in Boxborough. I think one's called Delaney Pond, and one Flag Hill, I believe.
Yeah, yeah.
So we got to explore the area. I wanted to get back into a municipal type of law enforcement, being in higher educational law enforcement for the past nine years or so. I worked for the town of Winthrop for 11 years, sometimes in a full-time capacity. Again, based on the budget, if there was a budget cut, it'll be the first one cut where I go back to part-time hours. But again, over the past several years, I wanted to get back into the municipality type of law enforcement, more community policing oriented. And I thought Boxborough would be a great opportunity.
Awesome. So I heard you say you came and you visited the trails with your wife and your daughter. Is that what you said? some
My
hiking?
wife and my two oldest. I have a teenage boy, 15, and
God love you.
a 10-year-old girl, and then I have 4 others as well.
Way to go. You're a busy, busy man. All right. What do you like to do in your spare time when you're not raising 6 children?
Well, again, we like to go exploring. Again, being so new to the area, we've been here for almost 3 years now. We like to look at the, different, my kids love the farms. We go all the orchards and again, all the trails as well. So we still like to explore the state forest in the area.
That's great. That's great. Anybody else have other questions for Mike?
So I've got a question actually for the chief. So because Mike's coming out of Fitchburg University, State University, does he need to do any particular training or something, certification, to be back in the municipal, or?
No, he is all set. He's completed the Bridge Academy. Everybody we're bringing to you, even Officer Gorman, he got his exemption because he was certified out of state, and that was already taken care of on November 15th after a long process. Officer Turner, same thing. He had to do a Bridge Academy, which he completed, and he's fully certified here in the state to work in a municipality.
Okay.
Will Officer Turner, he's coming on full-time?
He's coming on full-time. Yes.
Welcome.
Yeah.
Happy to
Welcome.
have you.
Yeah.
That's right.
And do you have dispatch experience?
I do,
No,
yes.
you should have been prepared for this. No. You might be learning. No, okay. All righty. Anything else? All right. I move to appoint Officer Michael Turner to the Boxford Police Department pending the completion of final paperwork with a term ending June 30th, 2024.
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Welcome to Boxborough, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much.
All righty. Now, Bill and Mike, don't feel like you have to hang out. You saw Owen get out. He skedaddled. You can skedaddle. No need. Unless you find this fascinating.
Always gonna put me to work.
No, not yet. Not yet. Be careful, though. So, okay. The next order of business, discussion of the FY24 Acton Healthcare Insurance Trust shortfall. Now, I did ask Maria, as chair of the FinCom and as the person who attended the ALG meeting last Monday, I think it was, to give us an update, only because she was there in person. The rest of us are reading about it. So Maria, if you don't mind. Yeah, please sit if you want. Yeah, definitely. And you and Adam can share it. Thanks, John.
So we also have the chair of the school committee here
Yes, I'm
tonight.
sorry. Adam Klein, nice to see you. Thank you for being here also.
So I'm going to talk specifically about ALG. Last time we spoke, ALG was going to meet that following Monday. They did. They decided to go forward with an override in Acton. my understanding is, they didn't come up with an amount. They were saying not a full override to cover the shortfalls, both at the region and in the town. And that the Finance Committee specifically would be looking for cuts. And they were going to come back on the 4th of December, right, with an amount for the override. So once we know that, we'll be able to plan better. And we have a meeting on the 5th in which Adam is coming, hopefully with other members of the school committee. Okay. Right, yeah, so we've posted that, or we're going to post that for 7:15. If you want to come and join us, and post a joint meeting. That way you can
Yeah, we
speak
would.
and ask questions and of
I think it
everybody.
should be posted for everybody. So when Mike and I heard about all of this, it was actually our idea to ask the FinCom to host the meeting. It just seemed to make sense to us that the FinCom is the one that's going to be bringing it, the budget to the town. We have to build the budget. The school committee has to support it. It made sense for all of us to come together and us go to your meeting versus you come to our meeting. It just seemed like the best way to do it.
So we're going to go ahead and post our agenda on Wednesday morning, once we get the Zoom link from Kirby. And then you can, I assume will you be posting a joint meeting? I
Yeah.
guess? Okay.
Yeah.
So,
We want to be able to talk.
okay. So we will indicate that on our agenda as well. There'll be a joint
Yeah.
meeting. Okay. And
Well,
that's
will it
at
be a joint
7:15.
committee, a joint meeting of the school committee, the select board, and
No,
FinCom?
no.
Okay.
No, it'll be a joint meeting between our two boards. School committee that will not have a quorum because there's only the Boxborough members that will be present. So that doesn't constitute a quorum for the regional school committee. So the town of Acton, at that meeting, indicated that they don't want to make cuts because they've made cuts in the years past to save the school. So this is continuing to play out, and I think there'll be more information on the 4th, and hopefully the night that you come on the 5th to our meeting, we'll be able to get a better understanding of what that number's going to look like and who's actually making cuts. I will say the one thing that I keep hearing over and over again is this is not sustainable. So there's got to be, a lot of hard decisions are going to be made. The health insurance trust, I don't have an update, do you?
Yes. I'm happy to give an update on the health insurance trust. So, health insurance trust asked for $2 million cash influx to be able to pay current year bills. And the split for that between the school district and the town of Acton is about a 75-25 split. So the school district was on the hook for about $1.5 million of that. In addition, the health insurance trust is raising the insurance rates by 22.8%, effective January 1st. And then that rate increase follows through until next year into the FY25 as well. So all in, the school district is on the hook between the 1.2 million and, for the 1.5 million for the cash, plus the rate increase equals about another 1.2 million. So the school district needs to pay a total of $2,750,000. The plan that the district has put forward at our last meeting was that we would be able to fund that. That's out of this year's budget, so it's a significant amount out of this year's budget. With a $2 million disbursement from the OPEB trust, which is essentially a reimbursement from the FY23 payments that we made. An additional $550,000 would come out of our general fund, which was allocated to pay into OPEB trust for this year. And then the remainder would come out of our excess and deficiency fund. So you'll see us coming to both towns again with an amended budget, similar to what we did earlier this year. No change in the assessment to the two towns, but we are going to be withdrawing funds from excess and deficiency. In addition, the committee felt very strongly that it was not fair to pass on that 22.8% rate increase to the employees of the district. And so we voted at our last meeting to at least cover the first month of that rate increase, which was for the month of January, because had we not done that, then employees would be receiving that withdrawal out of their paycheck this week, the December paycheck. And we then authorized the superintendent to go have some discussions with the unions around how we might be able to cover the balance of the remaining 5 months for this year's rate increase. Because again, it's somewhere to the tune of $750 to $1,000 additional for every employee of the district in the town of Acton to have that rate increase. And so that additional funding would also, if it goes through, will have to come out of excess and deficiency for this year. Again, no change to the assessment, but more withdrawals from our excess and deficiency fund, which, as you can imagine, is going to make things very difficult for our budget for next year, which is sort of what Maria led into at the beginning in terms of what our budget planning is for '25.
Okay.
Okay, so the Health Insurance Trust has a meeting on November 30th at 8:15, and it is a hybrid meeting, and the link is on the Acton website. Actually, the link's on our website. The meeting was posted on our website. That's how I found it. I'm sorry. So it's also on the Acton website. But if you go to our calendar, there's a link to the agenda and the Zoom link, if anybody would like to attend, via Zoom. So that's kind of all that came up on that. I did get an email today from Kirby asking whether or not we wanted, because apparently at no extra cost, he can plug in and he can basically stream the ALG meeting because it's hybrid and it's televised. And is that something that Boxborough wants to do? And I told him I would bring it up tonight under this report and see. Do we think it's necessary, given how the override in Acton is going to directly affect our budget and our taxes, our taxpayers? Do we want to have that streamed? And he says it's really a matter of programming. I said, no extra cost. He said, no, I have to.
That was what I was going to say. Kirby, can you come out here and speak to this? No.
He's coming.
Okay. Well, I know we have a certain amount of programming available that we can fill with different things, so we'll let Kirby explain.
We are covered within the contract to be able to do things like that.
All right, Kirby, we're changing your hats here.
So, good evening.
Good evening.
So, we already provide a live stream of the Acton-Boxborough School District school committee meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Through the wonders of automation and technology, I basically just put in a value into the schedule, and the school committee appears automatically at the right time. So all we have to do is just know what committee it is, and I'll just change the title for it, and I can schedule it. But since you be the boss, you have to make the decision. And as I said, it's just a scheduling issue. No, it's not. We're not covering a meeting. It basically appears on the broadcast. We don't record it. We don't capture it. We don't do anything other than give the Boxborough residents the opportunity for more information.
I think it's a great idea. Mike, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think that's worth doing.
Yeah?
Just
Rest
as
of
long
the
as
board?
I'm informed on the
Yes.
schedule.
Is this something we need to make a motion and vote, or we just can all nod our heads and say, go to it, Kirby?
I don't think so. I can tell them to go do
We'll
that
just
if that's
nod
the
our
will
head.
of the
All right.
board.
I'm looking at you guys.
Yep, we all nodded our heads.
Okay.
So
All right.
Kirby, this is a live broadcast, or it's a?
To be really clear,
Yeah.
I have the capability, or because of our technology that we have, and share also with Acton. Acton has the same broadcast server. I can use a specific protocol to basically glom on to their broadcast and rebroadcast it here. So it's simulcast.
Okay.
And
Simulcast,
when it goes
fancy.
away, then, you might have it for a 4-hour slot more than what you want, but at least that way it's a start and stop and we don't have to touch it. But it does give the Boxborough residents that opportunity to not have to attend the webinar, but they can turn it to the government channel and see what it is.
Okay. No, I think it's a great idea. Thank you. Thanks for the offer.
Thank you.
Okay, and just one last thing, just my opinion, and I think it's something we need to think about. I do think, in my opinion, and I've not discussed it with FinCom, if we had a BLF, we might have been aware earlier of what was going on at the region.
Remind people that don't know what BLF stands
Okay, Boxborough Leadership Forum. The previous select board was opposed to it for various reasons that I'm not going to go down.
No, we don't have to.
We had a couple of members of the community that, used the open meeting law against that committee. We've got to figure out a way, I think, in my opinion, and I'm asking you guys to do this, to get the leadership of the town back together, whether it's BLF, Mike, I know we had talked about maybe doing something through the town administrator. I feel that is what BLF was created for communication. I think we would have been more on top of this earlier, or at least asking the right question. So maybe Adam didn't have all the information, but we have all the experience sitting at that table. We could have asked all the right questions and then kind of poked and prodded in, whatever we needed to do. That component was missing, and this is where it got us. We're in a position where we've sent budget memos out to department heads based on information we had on that day, and within a week, we're potentially looking at having to cut budgets based on what we don't know what's coming from Acton. So just something to think about. I really think we need to bring back some type of forum. They have Acton Leadership Group, ALG, as a forum. They figured it out. I don't care if it needs to be more formal. I think we need to do the same thing. We missed this, and it's gonna, it's gonna be a difficult budgeting season because of it for us and and being able to present the information back to the school committee early enough so they really have an understanding of where we all are in this town. So that's just my opinion. Take it for what-
It's funny. Gary, were you and I FinCom when BLF was first? Because I think we were the original members from FinCom, and then I moved along. I thought it was a great committee to have, so I didn't understand why it was dissolved, but that does make sense if it was, open meeting issue, violation issues. I personally think it's worth pulling it back together. The reason we made BLF before, correct me if I'm wrong, you guys who are here, was because we were looking at these really big issues on all fronts. It wasn't just the school, the library was being built, schools were being built, life was changing crazily, and we felt the need. And I feel like we're probably coming to that. We won't call it an apocalypse, we'll call it like an apex or something. Coming back to that, where it'd be good to spend some time with each other. Okay. What do you guys think? Oh, Adam, go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted, I wanted to share that I think now that we know that the Acton side has decided to move towards the override, there's clearly a far bigger part that Boxborough will play. And as we put together that budget and pay.
Was that Freudian?
Freudian slip, pay and play.
I think it might have been.
As we plan that budget. So I think that the school committee is going to be responsive. We're going to be here more often. It would be a lot easier if we had a more regular meeting that it didn't require us to attend a FinCom meeting or a select board meeting, where we could share some of the planning and let the leadership of this town understand where we're at and what things need to get cut. No matter what, the school will have to cut for next year, regardless of what budget gets put forward. But I think it'll be important for us to share with the Finance Committee and the Select Board what we're going to be losing out on in the school district and what we're working hard to save. Because a good example is we came to the Finance Committee last year and shared some of the work that we're doing with a group called Cartwheel Care, which provides 1 week access to mental health services for students in need, which is a really important thing for us. That's one of the things that could be cut this year, and I think it'll be important for us to have those conversations about what are the cuts or what are the things that we're trying to save as we go through this difficult budget.
That's a tough one to consider cutting. Okay. We won't go down that path. Gary, do you want that?
Yeah, Gary just asked me to remind everybody. So part of the inner workings of the request from the Health Insurance Trust, that $2 million that I referenced, is the Health Insurance Trust is considering that a loan, which means that at some point in the next 12 to 24 months, they intend to pay that back. But there is no guarantee. Where we recognize the fact that health insurance costs continue to rise, and so they may not be able to pay that back. And both the district and the town of Acton are also looking at what other options there may be to provide health insurance to our employees. And so should we withdraw or disband the Health Insurance Trust prior to receiving that money back, that loan would obviously disappear. So there's a lot of other, there's the emergency stuff that we're dealing with now for Health Insurance Trust about being able to pay bills, and then there's the longer term stability of that trust, looking at what's happened, whether or not it is an acute issue or something that's more long-term and structural.
Okay.
I just want clarification. I want to know, would we be sending a list of questions that we want the school committee to be prepared to come answer? Or Is
On
that
the
going to
5th, you
be?
mean, on December 5th?
on
Well,
December
December 5th will be giving us all the information. They'll actually have the real numbers. They'll have an idea of what Acton is, is planning to do, and then we'll have more to process, right?
They'll have as many numbers as they can get pulled
Right, as many
together,
as we
right?
can
But
get.
we will know the override amount. You will know that for the town of Acton, because, well, in theory, because ALG is making that decision supposedly on the 4th. The ALG needs to make that decision soon. I mean, their budget and their town meeting is before ours, so there's, they really need to make that decision soon.
Sure.
So hopefully they'll have all that information, but I think that we can glean a lot of information, and we've done that ourselves. If we know if it's a full $9 million shortfall, and we fund that fully through the override just to get to level service, it's going to be X for a cost. I was able to give you that last time. I don't have it in front of me.
Yeah.
It was significant. It was like 12% or something. So
No, I mean, just to even understand, my thing is, I want to understand what are all the different, I mean, when you say level service, what are all the different services? Like, I want to get granular.
Yep.
I mean,
So
at
what?
this point, we need to get granular.
I don't know if that'll
Agreed.
happen for the 5th, though. I think the 5th is the initial,
What we'll have for the 5th is probably a similar version of the budget presentation that the superintendent presented to the school committee about a month ago, which covers the high-level cost drivers and where that delta is and why those drivers are increasing at a significant rate, higher than the 3% that we would want it to. So you'll get that information. Typically, the superintendent doesn't put out a budget until January, and so this is very early for us. So what you won't see is necessarily a line-by-line budget at the 3% services and whatever the mystical number is that the ALG is going to come forward. But you'll get some of the high-level information about what are the biggest budget drivers for us and what's causing those, what percentages are they going up, and then hopefully we'll have some additional information about what a potential budget look like with an override number. All I can tell you is that every week when I speak with the superintendent, the numbers change. Every week for the past month, the health insurance trust information has been changing on us. And so as that changes, that really affects what our budget looks like for next year. So there's not a lot of solid information just yet. Now that there's an agreement to go to an override for Acton and they're working towards that number, we're starting to solidify some of those things. But there's no guarantee that the override passes, so we're preparing 2 budget options, and so we'll have to, basically do twice the work. But as much of that information as we'll have available, we'll try to share with you on the 5th.
And Priya, I don't-
so, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be afraid to send questions to Maria ahead of time, and if they can be
you can
addressed.
send them, actually, you can send them to Adam and just copy me. And that's fine ahead of time, but this will not be the first meeting we have.
I
Oh,
know,
I'm sorry, the last meeting we have.
I'm sure, but I just don't want it to be just like we came to know about this so late, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
don't want the budgets to be kind of like semi put together, and then we ask all the questions, and then they'll have to go back and redo the budget.
I think we're gonna
So
have to stay on this in
Yeah.
parallel with our budget.
Yes.
And that may mean that, somebody from the school committee needs to come to, FinCom meets every single week in
Yeah.
January, February, and March. And Gary goes to all of the school committee meetings, and it may just mean that some of us need to start going to more meetings and, but we'll have the answers as it is produced. So, but if you send the questions to Adam and then copy me on it, that would be great. And then if you are going to answer those, and, just copy me on it, that would be great. So,
Thank you.
Great. So, just to be clear, at this point, from conversations I've had with you already, Maria, Foxborough is not looking at an override. We're looking at an impact to our budget.
we're looking at, so we have 2.3 million in excess levy, which is a little lower than I thought. But that's a conversation that we can have another day. Somehow we ate into that excess levy last year, $500,000, which surprised me. But that's, so we have 2.3 million, plus we have, whatever the revenues that we are going to have. I think it's going to be, we don't need an override. I think Mike and I talked about that. Correct. We're going to have to be really tight on our budget because we don't also, just because we have the excess levy, we shouldn't be using it because that is a significant tax increase to the taxpayers. That said, we are going to need to work with Mike and the financial team every step of the way to understand what the projected revenues are. We're going to have to come up with the budget models that we used to do at BLF, which had all of the warrant articles and it had all the operating budget information, and then it had all of the income and then kind of what the shortfall was. So we understood what we needed to, what our shortfall was, what was coming out of a levy and what might be coming out of free cash. So we're going to have to work really closely with Mike's financial team and hopefully be able to get that information. And it needs to be, the problem is I think it's going to need to be, like current, constantly updated.
Oh, I can remember the last time we went through this. It was a constant shuffle. What's in free cash? What's in stabilization? What's our levy limit? Yeah, we're going to be doing the dance, which we
I
haven't
think so.
had to do
Even
for
if
10
we're not
years.
doing, and I do not think, Mike agrees, we do not think we need an override. But it also depends on what they're going to come back with.
Okay.
Because we cannot do, we have to be smart and forward thinking. We do not want to be in the position that Acton is in where they have no levy left, right? We did the override at the same time, the last one. We still have a significant amount of money left in our excess levy. They do not. They are at their ceiling. So we don't want to be there in 2 years, because then we're going to need an override, and those are really hard to pass in Boxborough.
Yeah.
So
And they're very divisive.
yes.
Very divisive. Yes. Okay. Any other questions for Maria and Adam? Anybody on Zoom have questions for Maria or Adam? Feel free to raise your hand. Don't want you to feel like you're ignored. No? All right. Well, thank you guys. Seeing no hands, thank you for coming in and updating us with this cheery news. Happy holidays. Yay. We're going to be spending a lot of time together. Yay. So, okay. Next thing, we have the presentation, the finance team's FY24 Q1 financial report. So who's going to be heading that one up? Naomi, are you? Or she's
I think Kelly's starting it off.
I would say, who's,
Yep.
Hey Kelly, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, thanks.
Okay. So you all should have the packet that I sent out, or that I had Kelly send out. So basically, this was just kind of a 3-part report to tell you from each one of us where we are, or what happened in our departments for the first quarter. On mine, it's always a very busy, first quarter, because we've got the closing out of the books, we've got certifying the free cash, we've also got, I prepared for the auditors that came at the end of October. Plus this year we have the additional, of Naomi being brand new to the town and needing to work with her on just the aspects of her job, of what her job entailed, along with, working on the actual work. So it's just been an extremely busy and very challenging quarter, for us. So just wanted to let you know that on the expenses, after reviewing all the departments, we're doing really well. We don't have any individual department that has spent over their 25% that you would expect to see in the first quarter. So our departments are doing really well. At this point, we haven't had a need to go to the finance committee for any unexpected expenses. On page 11 and 12, you're also going to see all the special articles that we still have outstanding money for. And then, that we're going to be working on. On the page 19 of the expenses, you'll see the ARPA fund. That way you'll also be able to see, Mike and I are going to have to work on a plan to get the departments to start working on spending that money. And it may be, something that we have to, work. I'm not real sure what the plan is going to be, but we need to get a plan to take care of that.
Kelly,
Then
can
on
you
the
explain
page-
what the ARPA funds are, just for anyone who doesn't know what ARPA is?
Okay, those are the funds that we receive from the federal government to be able to provide assistance to towns, businesses, anything that we needed to take care of the COVID-19 pandemic, basically recovery efforts. And those funds, because of the town and the amount, they're all deemed lost revenue. The government provided those funds based that, of the lost income and things that the municipalities during the COVID lost. So that's our portion of what we have. I believe we have a committee that went through all of that and decided, I can't know if it was a committee or if it was the interim town administrator that went through and worked with the departments to put together what these special projects are that we're doing. Let me get to that page.
My understanding on that, while she's looking, is that the interim town administrator worked with the department heads and the committee chairs, took input, and then brought a proposal back to the select board. It was voted on. Those were the amounts that were approved for spending. And last I checked, we had spent about 33% of the $1.7 million. And we have a year from December to spend the rest. We do have a plan to spend all that money, and I'm working with the department heads to do that. They've got it committed to the different projects, and they know that the couple of ones that don't think they're going to spend all of it, we're going to move it to other projects that are spending it within the intentions of where those funds were allocated.
So my guess is that we have to show the federal government that they were spent appropriately, so we can't pay for health insurance costs with it.
That's correct.
Just wanted to throw it out there for the public,
Yes, yeah, we have to.
Well, when
I
you
have to
hear,
do a
oh my gosh, we
report.
have $1.7 million, I'm sure somebody out there was thinking, well, I know where to use that, but it's
Yeah.
designated. Okay.
Yes.
Thanks, Kelly.
Yeah, I have to file a report every year to tell them what we've spent and what the different projects are.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, sorry. And then on page 21 and 22, you'll see those are our projects that we have that have dealt with borrowing. So that's money that we've authorized for articles that we borrowed money for. So those are handled separately as like a capital article that we need to keep separate. So those ones that are smaller that are completed, we'll need to work with the few departments that have those to get those closed out to a receipts reserved. And then whatever's in that receipts reserved, we can appropriate that money to spend on debt in the FY25 budget. So I'll work with Mike on getting that done also.
Great.
For the revenue, there's just, 3 items that kind of, stuck out to me. The first one is that we're pretty much right on track with our local receipts. We're at 25% exactly. And then you'll see on some of the accounts that the investments are in negatives. Unfortunately, the first quarter of the investment market did not bode well for us. I think that's kind of like how it is for everyone. We're hoping that the second quarter it will, rebound and we'll be able to hopefully start earning more interest on that. After the second quarter, we might need to relook at, moving some money to a different institution or doing something differently, but the finance team will discuss that and come up with what we feel is the best option for the town.
I have one question, Kelly, with that.
Yes.
What is it that is invested?
All of our trust funds are OPEB money, the stabilization fund.
Okay. Is this like a new investment? Did we change anything from before?
No.
Or like it's
No, it's the same place that it's been. It's just that since COVID, we've had quarters where we are hitting the negative, where it's because it's basically like the stock market. But it's invested in secure. It's not like, because when we invest with Bartholomew, which almost every town that I know of is, you tell them how you want it invested. You can tell them, do we want it aggressive? Do we want it conservative? And then they invest it in the secured places that they feel are best. But I can tell you just from the towns that I deal with, we all had negatives this first quarter. It wasn't just just Boxborough. The big issue that I did want to bring to everyone's attention so that, there wouldn't be any questions down the road. On the revenue report, you'll see on the last page, on the OPEB, you will see negative 50,000 of OPEB transfer from general fund. There was 2 entries made for the $50,000 transfer to the OPEB at the end of FY 22. And the auditors discovered that, and in order to fix that, we had to put it in as a negative. The cash is correct with the OPEB trust. It's just that was the GL entry that needed to be adjusted. Yep, it's right there at the top of that page. If you scroll back up just a little.
There it is.
No.
Yeah,
So,
OPEB transfer from general fund, right there.
yeah, so that's why that's a negative. And you'll see above that was basically the loss, the $7,007.83 was the loss on the OPEB investment account for the first quarter. And if you scroll down just a little, you'll see all the trust funds, they were all pretty much in the negative. They're not huge amounts that we have, so, it's not a huge amount of money. But, that's what, I knew there would be questions on why are these negative, and that wanted to give you that, answer. But that's pretty much I have from my side. If you have any questions now, that's great. If after you've had time to go through this and you have additional questions, please feel free to email me. And we'll move on to Kelly.
Kelly, I have one question. On
Yes.
page 11, I see the town insurance liability. That's almost like $67,000 more.
Right. We appropriated that money at the fall town meeting. We had a bill that came in from Maya for insurance that we had to pay, or the town would not be insured at this point.
Page 11.
And since we were so close to the town meeting, we paid that bill, and then we're backfilling that from the town meeting vote.
So we do have the money.
Yes, we do. Yes. It just doesn't show on this report because the town meeting wasn't until November.
Any other questions for this, Kelly? Thank you for putting all that together. Were you saying yes or no?
No, I really haven't had a chance to look at this. It's the first time I'm seeing it, so I'd like to take a look at it. I might have some questions later.
Absolutely. Okay, sure.
That'd be great. Yep. Please feel free to email me. And I'm sorry I didn't get it to you last week. I was on vacation and I didn't get it done before I left, so my apologies.
All good. We'll yeah, we can take it up. We can put it on the agenda for the next meeting for any future questions. Or like she said, you can email her directly.
Yep, that'd be fine.
Okay, awesome. All right.
Okay.
The next Kelly.
Your turn, Kelly. Next, Kelly.
Well, I really have nothing more to add to what you see there in your packet. So from my report, do you have any questions to what you see? I mean, it's kind of all behind us now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you were recently in, to go over the tax classifications, and I appreciate the summary that was put in there, just to kind of give us an idea of where you're at.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm far beyond all what I'm reporting tonight to you, so it's all kind of like old news. So I didn't know if you had any other questions to what you've seen, or
Anybody? No?
Not at this time.
Well, that was easy. Boy, you up the hook. Okay. And Naomi, thank you for being here tonight.
You're welcome. So my report is pretty straightforward on what we collected in my office between the real estate, personal property, and excise. I'm still adjusting to the role as a treasurer. I'm still learning quite a bit on what's involved in the job. I have recently signed up for the MCTA mentor program.
Oh, good.
Hopefully they get someone, and we'll get more training in my office between me and Tita. I also in process of cross-training in my office so that my assistant can be able to do AP, payroll. Hopefully, once I get cash book down packed, they'll train her on cash book so she'll be well prepared in the office just in case something happens to me.
If you want to go on vacation.
Vacation, yeah.
Yeah, take a day
So
off.
she would take care of the office without any issues or telling someone I can come back when Naomi's back in. So that's what my focus in my office is. Hopefully, I'll get the treasury work used to and get down packed shortly, but it's a struggle. So, any questions?
Yeah, I couldn't do what you do, so.
Oh.
Any questions for Naomi? No, we're glad you're here. We're glad you're all here. Thank you all for helping us. That, you know, we couldn't manage all this without the finance team. Any question? Okay, so any questions in the?
No, I just, the memo says that it was sent to the select board and the FinCom. I haven't received this. I went back and looked at my email, so can somebody just, I mean, I can extract the pages, but it would just be easier for me if somebody just emailed me this report.
I can
do
email
that.
Who's got the whole thing? Kelly Pomprion, do you have the whole thing?
I have it. I can email it right now.
That'd be great. Send it to me and I can forward it out when I do the rest of the stuff that I'm sending out, because this will be on our agenda to discuss at our next meeting.
Perfect.
So, okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Perfect.
And also, I will be, the request of the FinCom with the dashboard, I will have that completed and sent to you by the end of the week.
Great, thanks.
Excellent. All righty, any other questions? No? All right, well, thank you again for putting this all together. I know that's a ton of work, and like I said, I couldn't do what you guys do, so I really appreciate you bringing it forward and, you know, distilling it down so that we can all understand it. So, excellent. All right, and don't feel like you have to be polite. You guys can hit the road. You have to stay if you don't want to.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you. Have a great night. All righty. Next, general obligation bond anticipation note renewal authorization. Mike, I'm going to turn it over to you.
So this was a $300,000 ban, which the town took out following a town meeting vote the May before last. It was for road improvements. That ban it was a one-year bond anticipation note. That 1 year is coming up in December. So this is a vote to renew it for another year. And then at the end of that, so at this point, the town could pay it off. It could renew it, or it could roll it into long-term debt. And we think the smart option is to renew it for another year, pay the interest, and then at that point, decide whether the town wants to pay it off or more likely roll it into a long-term debt. So the vote before you is to renew that. You have all the paperwork in the packet, and we have the originals here for you to sign.
Will the interest be the same?
Yes.
Everything? Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions about that? So when you said the town can pay it off, you meant ostensibly, not that, so you don't recommend we pay it off? You recommend
No, I
we
recommend renew it for another year. And that was the plan over a year ago when this was taken out, was to do it for a year, roll it for another year, and then, so I recommend renewing it.
Okay, perfect. All right, any further questions or discussion? Anybody?
So just as a note, the unwritten policy in the town has been to do ban short-term borrowing each year, and so we get to about $2 million worth of potential bonding. And then we go out and bond. So we typically, just as a reminder, we're not quite to the point of $2 million yet in bonds. So we did $300,000 2 years ago. We did the land $300,000 again this year, fire engine. So probably maybe next year or two we'll be at that point where it's probably time to start considering a full bond again. But
Is that because we get a better interest rate with the full bond, or?
What I was told, and this is from a previous accountant, that it was better from the borrowing agencies to do a larger bond instead of $300,000 and $500,000, and do it as a lump, larger sum. So I think we get better rates that way too. But
Okay.
No, you can combine them all to make a big bond, right?
Right.
That's what, like all the small ones.
Part of it is whether you do a small bond or larger, you're gonna pay the same amount in the legal fees. So if you're doing a small bond and you're paying, $8,000, $10,000, $12,000 in legal fees, you might as well, accumulate a number of them into, like Gary said, like a $2 million package. And I think your money goes a little further that way.
Okay, that all makes sense. Thank you. All righty, any further discussion or questions? Okay, then, I move to authorize the general obligation bond anticipate note renewal as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is unanimous. All right. Bring it on. Look at this pile of stuff to sign. We'll do that at the end.
Okay.
Excuse me. All righty. Discussion of the flag policy revision. So just going back, I want you to explain again. Thank you, guys. So I do take seriously when Owen expressed concern that there are inaccuracies in the flag policy, and you're saying that you just recommend that we accept it as written now and then make changes as necessary. Can you explain that to me again?
Sure.
Like why we can't wait 2 weeks and fix it and then do it right?
Sure, I would explain this as a defensive move.
Okay.
So we had already planned to revise the flag policy, or I should say, I had already proposed or planned to propose these revisions to you. And, not knowing that we already got a letter subsequent to that saying, hey, we want to fly this club or organization, or these are my political views, sort of a flag, on Town Hall and our other municipal buildings, maybe I would say, sure, what's 2 weeks? But subsequent to that, we did have, let's say, a politically oriented group, and that's not a judgment of this group.
No.
But, a month later, there's going to be another group that's the exact opposite of that, asking to hang their views on our municipal building. As a public entity, we should really decide what is the statement or what is the view that we should be putting out to the public. I believe you want to consider, representing your country, your state, your town, and, hang your hat solidly on that, and not be withholden to the political view of the day. The U.S. flag, the Massachusetts flag, the town of Boxborough flag, and what we fly here and at the Veterans Tribute, the POW and MIA flag, the prisoner of war and missing in action flag. Those four flags have stood the test of time, and I think those are things that we as a local government should stand for. Whereas other things come and go, and people feel very, very strongly about them. Again, not right or wrong, but I think those four flags are going to continue to stand the test of time in 100, 200 years from now, whereas other clubs and organizations and political views may come and go. And again, not placing a judgment on them, but I think those are the things that we as a local government should say, these are the things that we should consider as, the rock solids that we want to put on the front of our buildings.
No, that all makes perfect sense. Thoughts of the committee?
I agree with what Mike's saying. I appreciate what Owen's saying, but I think, going back to that, Wes has said before, well, it's a policy, we can always update it, and I think we can approve this as, if it's acceptable in the language here, and then send it out for, if there's any other mistakes, that are in there that need to be addressed, and fix it at that point. But I think, I agree with Mike. I don't want to see this town become a place where, well, I want my flag up there. I want my flag up there. And it's
Right.
like,
Okay.
no.
Makes sense.
No, accept something and with the understanding that we will make amendments depending upon the accuracy of the language there, so.
Sounds good.
No, we have one person whose hands up.
Abby Reap. Would you like to engage?
I would. Let me
All
put my
right.
camera on.
There you
So
are.
thank you for considering this so quickly. I understand what Owen is saying, that there may be some errors in the current policy, but I think it is really, really important that you pass this policy this evening, and then you can go back and make those little corrections. Some of these other communities have really been divided. It's a very controversial issue. I really don't want Boxborough to end up in that situation. And I think the flags that TA Johns has outlined as the only acceptable flags for Boxborough to fly, I think that's definitely the right move. Thank you.
Sure. No, thanks. All right. Has everybody had a chance to read it? Any comments, edits, questions?
One thing I want to make clear to anyone who's listening, this isn't coming as a reaction to the email that we received. So on November 14th, Abby and Dennis emailed the board and myself. At that point, I responded on behalf of the board saying, as I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, that I would bring it to the chair to see if Kristen would consider putting this on for a revision. She said yes, so that planning has been in place for a couple of weeks. So on Wednesday, we had, after reviewing the agenda, we posted this agenda with this on here. This morning, I was forwarded an email from our town clerk that she received on Friday. And that was from an attorney representing an organization requesting to fly a flag. I didn't notice that they were requesting a particular date or span of time or whatever, but it was something that I guess went to many, if not all, of the town clerks in the state.
Oh, my goodness.
So kind of testing the waters, I would assume. And, so fortunately, we had this plan in place from a couple of weeks ago. Wednesday, we posted this. And it was after that this request came in. So I think our timing, we were lucky if nothing else, by getting this in when we did. Other communities, 3 other communities have been taken to court over this issue. And I think, where this hit a lot of communities, I think there are going to be many communities that are not in the good place. And fortunate that we are this evening with having a policy in place ready to be signed and not having to be withholden or beholden to others' intentions that aren't, within the hands of their select boards.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Are we ready for a motion? Wes, you look like you're thinking.
No, so I guess I was going to say that I think it's fine. In the past, we have had India Day, where they did fly a flag, and we had a lot of local residents, but it was not using any of the town's hardware or buildings. So that would not be an issue here. So that's why I guess I'm fine with it. But we also don't really have any space on any flagpoles or buildings anyways.
Interesting. Oh, tell me more about what they did. I'm curious. Was it a one-time thing that they came and they flew flags from other countries? Is that what you were saying?
No, just from India. So
Oh, just
for
India.
Yeah, so Acton does it. Like Acton has a much bigger one. They had probably 40 people here, I think.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then, because Rajan went to that, it was either 30 or 40 people. It was
So
pretty
we've
nice.
2 so far since I've been here. Indian flag raising and then the Haitian
Yeah.
flag raising.
Oh, nice. And where do they raise it? They bring their own flagpole?
They bring their own
Yeah.
flagpole and they'll do it in front
It's
of
kind of
town
a
hall.
telescoping flagpole, and it was right in that area in
Oh.
front, and
Oh.
it was raised there. I had that discussion with Mike to let him know about that.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
if a group came before the board, or they petitioned me to do this sort of a thing, if that was something that was delegated to me, this policy that's in front of you wouldn't prohibit that. What this is saying is, on our municipally owned buildings and our municipally owned flagpoles, these are the only 4 flags that are allowed. So the board could still say, oh, sure, you want to have a gathering, say Diwali Day, say this Indian group, say whatever other group, this policy wouldn't prohibit that. What this policy is saying, on our town buildings and on our town-owned flagpoles, this is all that's allowed, if you were to, approve this policy.
So let's talk about that briefly. You had said if the board would allow you to make that decision, are we comfortable if someone comes to Mike and says, I want to have, you called it India Day, and let's just let Mike manage that, or would you like that to come to the board for a decision?
I think,
I'm okay with Mike.
I'm sorry.
Unless, I'm sure Michael, if he feels like something is going to be controversial, I'm sure he will reach out to us, so I kind of trust him to, take the first stab at it, and then.
Is there a line in the flag policy about this? All other requests need to go through the TA or something like that?
I don't think it's addressed
No, because that's not
at
about the
all in
policy,
there.
right, because it shouldn't be in
Yeah.
the policy, that's more a procedure, okay.
So when we have, if somebody comes to use this room,
Right.
I can approve that. And I would, the scouts come here, they bring their own flag if they're doing a meeting or whatever.
Well, that's an example. They bring
And
their own
that's
flagpoles.
something that I would have no problem with, or if it's, whichever other community group, but if it was something that I thought was gonna be controversial, then I think I would defer that to the flag. I would ask them to give more notice so that we can get it on in front of the board, but I'm fine. Either way, I don't mind doing that, but I don't mind not doing it.
I'm
either.
fine delegating it, and if you feel that it needs to come further, if you need to run it up the flagpole, then you can.
No problem.
That was a 90s reference, I'm so old. Anyway.
But my sense is that if somebody's coming and they're asking about that, it's probably related to some sort of a celebration or an event. And that should be, and the board generally approves
Yeah.
people having, gatherings, right? I mean, it's not just Mike that would say, yeah, sure, you can do that.
Right.
So I'm kind of lean more toward those types of things coming in front of the board. If the Boy Scouts are there, I mean, even the Boy Scouts, I guess, would be the same situation. Just say, the Boy Scouts are going to have a gathering in front of the building on such a date. They're going to raise a flag. And the board says, we're aware, we say great, and we approve it. And usually that's thought out, further. We meet every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So they have their plan more than, 2 weeks, so it shouldn't be like
Wouldn't be a
a
hard time.
tough.
Wes, what
lift.
have you guys done in the past, anything? Did you remember if the board approved it, or?
Yeah, we
TA?
did.
You
but
came to the board?
This was, well, I guess, outside of this policy, the way that it's proposed, it would be outside of that policy.
Right. No, it's just because it came up. It seemed like an apropos time to just kind of say, okay. All right, so David's saying he'd prefer it comes to the board. Pri and I were like, yeah, do what you think. So, I think it's used as best judgment, and then bring anything to the board that, and it's just my opinion, so. I don't know. You really want everything to come to us?
Well, I think we're off the topic of this policy, though, if.
Yeah, fair enough. Okay. All right, we'll put a pin in it then. Because we're probably not supposed to be talking about anything else but the actual policy that's in the paperwork. All right, we'll put a pin, everyone think on that. Can we just pop that on the agenda for
Sure.
a brief, that way everyone will have time to think about it and hopefully take only 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
All right, awesome. Okay, any other questions, comments, or revisions for the flag policy? I don't see any hands, anything else? All right, I move to accept, sorry, glasses. I move to accept the revisions to the flag policy as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, the flag policy is revised. And Mike, if you could send that out to cemetery, veterans, whomever you think should take a once over, so if there's any clerical types of things we have to fix, we can do that.
Sure. Well,
Because Owen didn't say what was wrong, what was incorrect, so I just want to make sure that.
yeah, and it's been a number of years since it's been updated, I think 3 years, so maybe things have changed. So if you like, what we can do is publish this, accept the changes that were, the revisions that are made here,
Yep.
put it up on the website, and then distribute it around and say, come back to it in a month or something like that.
Yep.
With input from other boards, committees, employees, et cetera.
I'd say let's button it up. Let's get it out to whatever department heads, Ed Kukla, whomever needs to see the flag, police,
Sure.
fire, whatever. Whoever you think might have an opinion, give them 2 weeks to send it over, and then we'll revisit it at, in our meeting, in the last meeting in December. Like, let's not let this flag rush, we'll just get it done.
Okay.
All right, awesome. That way everyone will have a chance.
I think the last meeting in December is December 18th. So that's just a little over about 3 weeks from now.
I think
Want to
that's
push it
fine.
into?
No? Do people need more time than that?
I mean, I guess it depends if it's a chair that's going to make those revisions, or if they need to bring it for their
Oh, if they have to bring it to the board.
committee.
All right, push
Say
it
like
to January.
mid-January.
Push it to January. All right, I was trying to be efficient. All
I
right.
just want to give them time so they can.
No, fair enough, and I wouldn't want them to have to
consideration.
call a meeting in December just for this, so, okay, fair enough. Okey doke. Slow my roll. All right, next, look at us, almost on time. Town Administrator's Annual Performance Evaluation Executive Summary. So this is in the packet. And what this is, so the board did a 360 performance review. If you've got the packet, or if you're online, you can see we distributed the questionnaire to all the department heads and gave them an opportunity to fill them in. They were emailed out, and I also had 10 interviews. And these were supposed to be 5 or 10 interviews with the department heads who had filled in their paperwork. And they all wound up being an hour or more. And I know you're all going to blame me and say it's because I talk a lot, but it was really eye-opening to not only discuss Mike's performance review, the hour wasn't on that, but just getting to know each department head, what they're doing, you know, what's important to them and all. It was actually a really great exercise. So again, if you've got it online, I'm not going to read through it, but I'd love to do, you guys on the board, is kind of tick through the criteria, the score, and then give you each a chance to add any input, because what we did is we took back those 10 pages, you know, the 10-page surveys, along with written, my notes from the interviews, and then written notes from all the department heads, and then Rajon got the fun task of integrating it all into these bulleted items, and, you know, and making sure that everybody's input was heard. So the way I'd like to do it is just kind of run through it quickly and give you guys all a chance to have your input, because our opinions are integrated into this with all the department heads. So on the first page of the executive summary was the criteria. And again, I don't want to, you know, read line by line, but, you know, personal characteristics, professionalism, board support relations, you know, it's all there. And each of those people could give a score of 1 through 5. 1 being needs work, 5 being outstanding. And if you go to the second page, you're going to see, you know, the ratings that were received on each of these criteria. So I'll just buzz through this. Personal characteristics, outstanding, which means 5s. Professionalism, outstanding. Public relations and communications, outstanding. Board support and relations, highly effective. That's a B, Mike. No, I'm kidding. Community leadership, highly effective. Organizational leadership, outstanding. Personnel management, highly effective. Financial management, highly effective. Town operations and infrastructure, outstanding. And planning and organization, highly effective. So, you know, does anybody have anything they want to add just to that? That is simply tabulating 13 or 14 sets of surveys. So it was pretty consistent across the board.
Oh, okay, I was going to ask that question, is that, so there were 13 people that filled it out, and these are like the average or the majority of what people said.
Do you want to explain how you tabulated it into a spreadsheet and how you did this, Rajon? Only because he had the fun job of tabulating. Next year, we're doing a Google form where it can all get tabulated. He had to do it by hand.
Can I ask one question?
Sure.
So is this the tabulated results from the department heads or from the board or all together?
It's
All together. We
Sounds like
combined all of it.
altogether. Okay.
Yeah, we combined it all together. Yeah. So Rajon, you want to just?
So wait, hold on.
What?
Tabulated results from, so you're saying that the department heads filled this out too, like the rating things?
All of it. They filled out everything. They were great.
Okay.
Not all of the, not
I'm
all of
talking
the.
like the top ones, like the personal characteristics, professionalism,
Mm-hmm.
organizational leadership. My asking for that is because typically, and per the contract, we have, it's the select board's review, not necessarily the select board and employees review. And so if the employees were asked to fill out like the personal characteristics and those types of things that may be in breach of a contract.
Mike, how do you feel about that?
I mean, I think this is fine. But I thought, when I first saw this, I thought it was from these tabulations were from the board.
Oh, we
So
tabulated all of it.
So I thought that what was coming from the department heads was more of a 360 feedback on things that, that I could work on to improve. But the ratings, I don't have a problem with this, but I just wanted to be clear. That's why I asked.
Well, that could be my misunderstanding then, because again, I've never done this before, and I thought I was supposed to send that to everybody. And the department heads did give me feedback that some of them didn't apply to them. So they didn't fill in the things that didn't apply to them, but they did fill in the rest of them. So, and it was, they used it as a way to gather their thoughts about strengths and room for improvement, that kind of a thing. So, all right, well, we can change it for next year, can't we, Ray John?
Because my other comment was going to be that typically a summary is a summary or a annotation or some form of interpretation of the cumulative results that the chair would write. And so where you have, instead of just a bulleted list of what people put down there, because a lot of it's conflicting and it's not necessarily coherent in all the places.
Okay, well, I appreciate that input, but having a week and a half to get it done with a holiday, I did my best. And with limited instructions, I did my best. So we can certainly take this back and rework it if you'd like. That's totally fine, if you want to give us another month to do it. I thought it was really important that might get everybody's input, which is why we bullet it that way. And you also know I tend to write that way instead of large summaries because people don't read large summaries. So, but if it pleases the board, we'll take it back and rewrite it. I actually didn't see where it conflicted. I mean, the areas of improvement, again, because not everybody had all the same, there were just as many people that said, we think this is great and it's working well, and other people saying it needed a little bit of improvement. So I feel like this does give the whole picture without lots of language surrounding it.
To be honest, Kristen, this is how I would do it too. I'm also a bullet point kind of person, so it's easier, but, Mike, what are your thoughts? Like,
So-
I mean, do you
Yeah,
prefer this, or you want?
No,
us
this
to
is
do
fine. I think this is fine. In the identified strengths, I appreciate the nice comments that are here from the board and the department heads. The areas of improvement are what are most valuable to me, and these are areas that I'm going to work on to better myself. I did have 3 questions.
Sure.
And for this to be, most of this is really self-explanatory and valuable to me.
Sure.
But there are 3 bullet points under areas of improvement that I would want some context on to be able to improve.
Sure.
So the second bullet is continue to build professional camaraderie, build relationships, and share information with the administrative support team. I'm not sure what that means. I mean, certainly to be able to always do better, I want to continue to build relationships. I get that.
Yep.
And I guess I'm not sure about share information with the administrative support team. Is that meaning the administrative assistants? Because
Yes.
if that's what that is intended to be, that's not my job. And the reason I say that, I don't mean to be crass by saying that.
No, we appreciate your comment.
And I know some people don't appreciate that I come from a hierarchical sort of standpoint, but that's the way I manage. I do reach out to our staff. I visit the other buildings. I meet with the laborers. I meet with police officers, firefighters. I meet with the library staff. I meet with the administrative staff in this building, but I don't manage them directly. And I do that by intention. I do not micromanage department heads. And the first time that I go out and give orders to laborers, administrative assistants that are not my direct administrative assistant, or library staff, or police officers, or firefighters, I feel like I'm micromanaging. I'm taking away the thunder from the people that we have hired to manage them. So that's
So let me clarify that a little bit. That says share information. So me being able to go, see, that's why I think it was important to go department to department, is
Right.
to really hear what they have to say. And sometimes you know, the administrative support grabbed me also to say, hey, aren't you going to sit down with us? And I did explain that, you know, that we have our, you know, the job flow chart thing. What that is sharing information is, you know, I think it's either encouraging department heads to share more information. It's not asking you to manage them. It's not asking you to tell them what to do. It's to make them feel like they're part of the town hall. And I think that's coming from a culture at one point where the town hall was a little more cohesive and there was less hierarchy. Because you can see there are other people that feel hierarchy should be de-emphasized. Now, you are a strong TA, you have a job description, and you have a contract, so it's appropriate. But this is about building really camaraderie, relationships, and sharing. So focus on those words and just being inclusive with everybody, or encouraging the department heads to be sure that their admins feel included. Right now, I think it's fair to say that the support feels excluded because we have taken on these new roles. And maybe it's kind of like me explaining at the beginning of the meeting, nobody was meant, with like executive sessions, we're not withholding information, there's a reason we're doing this way. Maybe it's a meeting with the admin staff to say, we're not excluding you, we're trying to manage the flow to make sure everything is efficient and works well. My door, like, everyone talked about your open door. I can go down, everybody said, I can go down and talk to Mike whenever I need Mike. He's there for me, universally. But the support staff feels marginalized and unimportant.
Right.
And that, you know.
Yeah. I hope that's not a universal feeling amongst the support, the frontline staff, because I really have tried to include them. But the way that I include them is by going through the department heads. So I do regular department head meetings as well as operations team meetings. And I always say, and maybe this is something I need to emphasize more, is make sure everything that I'm sharing with you, schedules, updates, information, you know, that you are doing that in turn. And I do mention that every department head meeting. But if I need to put more emphasis on that, you know, maybe this is, you know, what this is telling me is put more emphasis on this. Because I really feel that it's important that frontline staff hear it from their supervisors, from their department heads, and not from me. Now, I go up and down the hallway multiple times a day, starting in the morning and ending at the end of the day when most people leave the building. And I do greet people. I want them to know that I'm visible as well as approachable. But I'll take that as something that I need to emphasize more, is that department heads need to pass on that information. So I will take that. The other two that I had questions on.
I think the other thing is, remember, well, I just want to put this in context also. To Mike's credit, when I met with you and I explained to Mike what I was going to be doing, so Mike knew what I was going on to do. So in terms of would you contract, I didn't not share this with him. You actually said to me that department heads had come to him and said, what do you want me to say? And you said, I want you to be honest with Kristen. You know, I want you to tell her everything. So please know that this is what's being communicated back to you. This isn't a to-do list. You know, this is a take it into consideration, you know, and just they're heard, that's all. But this isn't a to-do list.
No. I think this is all great stuff, and I can, especially this bottom list, I can learn from this and I can improve from it. But there were three that I just needed clarification. Okay. The first one you gave me clarification on. Yep. I get that. Yep. The other two are the third and fourth ones from the bottom. One says, and it's not that I'm not opposing these, I'm not disagreeing with them. I just want to understand where they're coming from so that I can use these as points of improvement. So the one says prioritize department needs so that things don't get put on hold or forgotten about indefinitely. and so if that's a theme that's coming from the department heads, I want to know what is it they feel like they're being backburnered on, so that I can address those. If it's coming from one or two people, you know, maybe some examples would help. And I'm not saying that because I want to find out who put it in there. I don't care who put it in. Right. But if it's something, I want to know where's the area where I can improve on this. Sure. Because we don't always see, the faults that we have. And so I want to see where it is so that I can fix it or improve it. That's why I asked that question.
Sure. And again, it's this is just making sure that all department heads felt like they were heard. And so there were a couple of people that said, well, you know, I needed something. I let Mike know, it got delegated, and it's been a couple of months and it hasn't happened. And I asked the natural question, being a manager and a parent, well, did you ask again? No. All right, well, you gotta take a little bit of a personal responsibility to say that maybe that wasn't high up on the list of things and maybe it has slipped off, but if you haven't heard back and you only put it out there once, why don't you just check in again, and if you're not comfortable bothering Mike, bother Ray John. Go bother somebody. So that's where that came from. A couple of people did say, oh,
Okay.
I asked for things and it slipped off the radar.
Okay, so I can
that's not
improve on.
some-
No, I can improve on that because what you said is, it was something that Mike delegated. So I'm gonna make sure that I follow up more closely when I delegate something. So
That
I
was
can improve
something
on
that
that.
came up.
Yeah, so I can improve on that.
That was definitely something came up, but there was also some, one of the things that came up was that some people thought that your open door, actually, the majority thought your open door policy actually might make you less effective, but they love the open door policy. So there was concern that by having an open door policy, you're always accessible, people could drop in on you anytime. So it pops into my head that I need pencils. So I run down and say, Mike, I need pencils. Well, that might not be your priority at the moment to order me some pencils. And I've dropped it in your lap. And then you say, hey, Ray John, order Kristen some pencils. And he says, hey, Kelly, order Kristen some pencils. And then something doesn't happen. I think it's more stuff like that. It's not the big stuff.
Yeah.
It's the
Little things.
little things. But that did come up. And people were also concerned that your open door policy meant that you were also having to work additional hours to get your work done because you were so open
Yeah.
and communicative.
That's absolutely true.
And there was concern about that. We
yeah.
don't, burnout is a big concern among all the department heads. Nobody wants to see anybody burn out.
Right.
So,
No, I appreciate that. And, if somebody comes to me for pencils or something that's really not in my wheelhouse, I send them back, from whence they came.
well, I just picked
And
something.
I do. If it's not something, if it's not a Mike fixable problem or one that I shouldn't be doing, I send them right back to the supervisor, department head, et cetera. The open door policy is there. If somebody needs to tell me, hey, look, my manager is being a jerk, or I feel like I'm being
That damn select board, we hate them.
or if I'm being mistreated or I'm not being heard. That's why the door is open. So I think it's really a valuable policy, and I think it does make for a longer day, but I think it's worth it. And I think the service that we deliver is better because we do that. The one other one I just wanted a little clarification on was encourage better communication between all department heads. Wherever that came from, was there a suggestion on how I might do that? Again, I'm not disputing this, but I want to,
Sure.
if there's a way I can have the department heads better communicate in addition to the department head meetings that we do and the updates I send, I'm open to it. I just want to know, I can't think of something
Sure.
offhand. A way to address
So
that.
you meet, all right. My understanding is that you meet with the operational department heads weekly?
Yes,
Okay, and then everybody else monthly?
yes.
Okay, so I think there was like, so basically, there's a sense that and by operational, I mean police, fire, DPW, and TA, right?
And
Those are
land
the-
use director and
Land-
economic development and the ATA and myself.
Right, so I think that those weekly meetings, that all of the departments that are not included in that would like a little more input on what's going on at those meetings, at some higher level, this is what's going on,
Got it.
kind of a thing.
Okay.
And again, a lot of this is about feeling included.
Okay.
But if you balance that against all the things that you really appreciate, and Wes, I do see how you're saying that some of the strengths are then negated with areas of improvement, and it's because everybody got the chance to kind of put it in here. So I think that you can, so to me, what I see is a lot of really happy people, love the open door, like the communication style, but there are a few things that I wish were done differently or better. And Mike, you can't make everybody happy, but this makes Mike aware that there are these disparate kind of thoughts floating around out there, so he can be aware of them.
So I guess my concern was more, that, so I guess you just saw that, so like follows up with department heads on a regular basis and that's what he can do for them, and then prioritize department needs so that things they can put on hold don't get forgotten. That's kind of where I was coming from with this, but also from the aspect of, and I think Mike put it in a way better than I did, that it's not necessarily for him to include the administrative assistants in like the department head meetings.
No.
In the past, we've done that, and it's actually been counterproductive. And even some of the bullet points saying he has fewer and more productive meetings than those held prior to in those before. And so I guess that's kind of where I was seeing this contradictory, or at least the ability to provide actionable areas of improvement in a better than just a either summer, like a,
Well, the way I saw it was the actionable would be in his goals and objectives for the following year. Because again, my understanding from just talking with Mike is we kind of take this is that high level, all of the input, and then we create his goals and objectives for the following year. And to me, objectives would be the specific areas of improvement that this board, based on all this information that's been popped into 4 pages, thinks is the most important in terms of his objectives.
okay.
So to me, it was an evolution, but I actually, I don't know, maybe I'm totally wrong. I live in the world of gray. So to me, kind of understanding all of this and how somebody can love the communication style and someone else feels left out, it just gives him information that he ordinarily would never have.
And this is all good, this is all fine, and I can, this gives me some context and some areas where I can work on.
And I could sit down and go through every single one of these if you want.
No,
You know,
no,
I mean,
that-
we didn't
those are the only-
debrief 'cause-
Yeah, those are the only 3 that I had questions on. I would kind of disagree, though, on the goals. I mean, this gives me areas that I can improve as a person, as a manager, as a leader. When we go to set down the goals, I think we really want to reach for the stars. We want to reach for high-level strategic goals. What are the next things that the town needs to, what does Boxborough want to look like in 20 years? And what can we do in the next 12 months to start getting there? These are little things that are all important, but I don't know that any of these get us to a strategic level of getting our next public safety or fire station built, or the next water source, or, I mean, I think we want to think big. And, where do we want to be in 20 years, and what do we do over the next 12 months to get there? So I think we step outside of this and go for big in the next month when we sit down and hammer out those goals.
Well, that's an addition. Specific things that we want to see improving in your leadership skills are one thing, and then your big goals and objectives, absolutely. That's the next step of all that. Yeah.
Well, I want to say, I really appreciate this. As I said from the start, I thrive on getting feedback and the opportunity to learn and improve on it. This is actually a great evaluation tool, and I'm going to take it from where it comes and try to deliver better and more. And I thank all of you and all of the department heads that participated in this. I know it was a lot of work. I saw a lot of the writing, and I know you've been busy for weeks doing this, and so have you.
Poor Ray John got it all dumped in his lap.
thank
Here you go, here on my nose, Ray John. Have fun.
Thank you for all the effort, and it has not gone to waste. It's I value this sort of feedback.
Well, in all seriousness, everything was so consistent. There really wasn't much here. You should be really proud of the work you've done for the last year. You've brought the town along. You've done a lot of healing. You have increased trust, transparency. People aren't afraid to talk to you. I can tell you that the DPW was beside themselves that you dropped by with coffee and hung out with the guys and learned who fished and who hunted and who knew how to fix an engine. But those are those little small town things that I think you intuitively just knew were going to be really productive. And it's going to help us achieve those big goals and those big objectives because you've got everybody working together instead of against each other. And so I think that some of this, is residual, some of the room for improvement comments, because what I said to people is, what would make Mike an even better Mike? I said, because a lot of people said, I don't have anything for improvement. Well, Mike wants to know what would make him a better Mike, and that's when they would say these things. So to put it all in perspective of that big picture and keep doing what you're doing, because I think you're right. When we look at those 20-year plans and then we back it down, we're building a group of people that actually want to work together to achieve it. And even tonight, with the police chief bringing in the 2 new officers, they came in seeming to really understand who we are and what we are. I believe them when they said, we want to come in and be community policemen and we like what we see in this community. That's where that's where I want to see the town go personally. So thank you. Because, I see you working with Ray John and Callie and, sharing information with them and sharing the responsibilities and the delegating, and I think that's amazing too. It's not the Mike John show, it's the team. And so I want you to know, I appreciate that.
This, I have to say, of the last 12 months, this has been fun. It's been a great opportunity. I'm really glad that I had the opportunity to come in and lead this team. And I always say, at any of our meetings, I always say team with a capital T. And I always write it because this is the most tremendous team of employees, of volunteers, the boards, committees, and commissions, the residents here, the staff that I get to work with. It's amazing. I love being here. I've had such an exciting 12 months, and I really am excited to look towards what we're going to do in the next year. And I really do want to reach high. What are the big goals? And if we don't get to all of them, that's okay. That means we took a big chunk, and if we get to half of what we set out to do in the next year, not in number of goals, but in the enormity of each goal and the impact that it makes on the residents and the resident businesses of this community. That's exciting to me. I love those challenges, and the team that I get to work with is amazing. The boards and committees and commissions that we get to interface with and problem solve with. Problem solving is one of my favorite things in the world. It really is, and building teams to solve those problems. And so thank you for the opportunity here and for the fun and the challenges that have happened over the last 12 months. I really, really look forward to the next 12 months. And, I wish we didn't have this huge fiscal, black cloud that's about to hang over us. But, it's a problem. It's a problem that was going to be there whether we're sitting here doing this or not. So let's roll up our sleeves. Let's work together on it, and we'll get there. We will. We'll problem solve our way through this. So thank you for this opportunity.
You're welcome.
And for this
Anybody
great
else
feedback.
want to jump in there? I know that you a couple people reached out to me that they had comments.
Yeah, I had a comment, and it's something that I mentioned to Mike, and I thought it kind of got a little soft pedaled just a bit in terms of the emphasis, but part of my concern was about the turnover in the police department, and I mentioned that to you in that.
Right.
But, so it sort of said, that it was a more general statement here. So I would like, for an area of improvement, and maybe it's not your improvement, but the town's improvement, to be able to, to build. Now, I'm kind of excited about the fact that 2 people were here tonight. It's like, great, because we have, seems like we have so few people, a lot of overtime, people having to do it and working in extra hours. So I'd like your attention on that. That's, to me, that was an area of improvement, which I think, I just said to Chris, and I said, this is fine as it's written, but I'll emphasize that to Mike to make sure that he's aware of my concern about the police department. I appreciate all that you just said, and I think, and I'm amazed that, from your background as a construction guy, that, what you picked up, and I think you're really sharp about that. I think these areas of improvement are more anecdotal. I mean, they're not measurable things. It's like, okay, I'm gonna come back next year. Well, how did you do in your areas of improvement? Well, I continue to implement the organizational efficiencies. Some of those things, I might have done them a little bit differently.
Sure, totally fine.
But I wasn't doing it, so it was, and I appreciate the fact that I didn't have to do it.
I have zero experience doing it.
Yeah. So
I'm happy to redo it if you want me to.
No.
Just
I
tell me
wouldn't
how.
I wouldn't look to redo it because, I mean, it's a very glowing report. And it gave Mike some of the anecdotal things that can help him to do that. But I think as we get into, the goals, the big goals, I think that's exactly right. It's like, okay, where are we gonna go? Where do we want to point Mike to be focusing his time? But the last point I would want to make is Wes's point about being contrary to the contract or something, the way this was handled. I'm not sure I understood what you were saying.
So
I want to make sure we're clean here.
Effectively, the select board's review, so in his contract, it stipulates that we give him a review. It just depends on how you interpret the select board's review.
Okay.
That's why I said it may be contrary. But the one other point that I needed to make was that we do need to have an overall rating because that is what is in his contract.
Okay, so based on, so there is no overall rating in there, but based on all of the,
So there's 5 outstandings and 5 highly effective. so it's split down the middle for the different sections.
So one of the challenges is there were 2 department heads who said, I don't give 5s because there's always room for improvement. I know. So I think what we could do is just pull out the select boards if you'd like and just distill that. I mean, based on all the time I spent working on this and based on my communication, Wes, you and I haven't talked, but you all met with Mike, right? You all 3 met with Mike?
Not yet. I'm going to after I wanted you to like kind of pull it together, and then I thought I'll meet with him.
Okay. Is that something that we want to decide this evening? I mean, because again, I mean, my feeling is it should be outstanding, based on what I read. Actually, I don't know if I got all 3 of your things. Thoughts? Do we have to give them 1 rating this evening?
Yeah, within 30 days of November 7th.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Can I give you my
yes,
thoughts?
please.
I think what you're supposed to do is take the numerical rankings from all of the sitting board members and summarize those.
All right, then I'm gonna have to pull those up because they got all lumped together with everybody else.
Yeah, and those
we
are
need a
just,
week.
but all you gotta do is mathematically, you just take the average of all of those, and wherever it falls, whether it's less than what's here, or more than what's there, or right on what's there. Because I think it's, my understanding of, and now I haven't gone through a 360 eval before, but my understanding was that 360 eval, including department heads, was supposed to be a sampling of, hey, here's what the department heads think, here's areas he can improve. But I don't think the department heads are supposed to be numerically grading me.
All right, well,
I
we
mean,
can fix
the
that.
input there is fine.
Right.
But I think contractually, and I
That's what I guess
wouldn't,
I was trying to allude
and I
to.
wouldn't rebut
Got it.
either way. I'm fine with this, but I think
Well, no,
the
we can
intention
pull
of the
out-
contract was that the sitting board members are supposed to do the summation of the point values.
We can totally pull out the select board numbers if you'll give me an extension to our next meeting.
Absolutely, I'm not in a hurry. I'm not going anywhere.
Well, you know what, that would also give, I know Dave, you already met with him. Have you met with him yet, Wes?
No, I just emailed it to him. When I
Perfect.
emailed it to
Yeah,
Rajan.
I emailed it to her.
Oh,
I'm
I
sure
thought you
that-
guys already met and debriefed.
Well,
I thought you said
we
you
talked,
debriefed.
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
so
sorry.
confused.
We talked, and Wes and I talked.
Yeah.
We didn't go line by line, but I had a debrief with each of them to some degree.
I was gonna reach out to you tomorrow if you had time, tomorrow or Wednesday, so.
Perfect.
All right, if I can have an
Let's do it.
extension to our next meeting, then Ray, please know this is not, Ray John did what I asked him to do. This is on me.
No, I was just gonna
So
say, just
we'll
need
pull
the
out the
rating.
select board numbers and then we'll
That's
be
what
able
he
to
gets
do.
bonused on.
What?
No, so the overall rating, so the way that the last select board and Mike worked his contract was a little bit different because we had the constraints of trying to be reasonable with the salary, but also saying that we should pay for performance because the town kept saying, we want someone outstanding, we want someone outstanding. And between Mike and I will tell you that effectively when we were negotiating the contract, we came to an understanding that Mike was betting on himself. And so that is effectively how the contract was written in order to lessen some of the, taking into account some of the price sensitivities of a high, not just automatically paying for it to try out, because this is not necessarily anything you'd find in municipalities. This is mostly from private thing where you pay for performance, not just assume proficient. So that was the reasoning of why we need to come to the select board's review. It needs to have an overall rating because that's how he gets compensated.
I do understand that. The rating determines the compensation. All right, well, we have a decision to be made right now that we can, I mean, it sounds like we need to just pull out the 4 of our numbers and go from there. And the department heads, have also weighed in. So, but I guess that's in terms of identifying strengths and weaknesses or areas of improvement. So, What do you think?
So my sense is, I mean, we can do that, but the work is already there. And so it's a split. So it's kind of like, I think if you were to argue for an outstanding, there would have to be it would have to be 5-3 instead of 4-4. So to me, it's whatever is the one before, what is the,
No,
what
but
is the
you're,
one before?
but again, it's
Highly
5 and 5.
effective. I
Right,
mean,
but again, I think we pulled the department heads out, because like I said, 2 department heads specifically said, I never give anybody a 5 ever, because there's always room for improvement. Nobody's perfect. So again, that's how they were interpreting what they were doing. So I think we need to pull the select boards out, just look at our numbers and go from there.
And put them back, and put the select board numbers
Yeah.
associated with that. Okay.
I think that, I'll talk to Ray John about it. We'll talk about it offline, how best to do that.
Next
All right.
meeting?
Next meeting, we'll just punt it to the next meeting.
But you're fine with that, Mike? 'Cause
Yeah,
this is,
I'm
I
fine
just
with-
don't want to like,
I'm fine with
Okay.
whatever the board says.
Thank you. Well, and I also, quite frankly.
Fine, even though it's going to be outside of what contract says, right?
No,
That's your
we're bringing it
concern?
into what the
Well-
contract says, saying it's just gonna be the select board.
No,
So-
no,
nobody else.
within 30 days.
I'm fine
so
with that too.
Okay.
there is possibly one way to just work around it, is to say we approve it as potentially amended with understanding of the general comments there and with the tabulation there, and then you can share the tabulation at the resulting meeting. But if we accept the review per or amended, like effectively, you can accept it now, so it's not a breach of contract, I guess.
My feeling is if both parties agree to extend a
That's
week,
fine.
how is it a breach?
I agree to
I mean,
extend.
I mean, if we're both extending,
Yeah.
let's just
Okay.
do it right rather than try to half-ass it. So. Alrighty, we will take care of that. All right, let's push this to the next meeting. Oh, Priya, I won't be here for the next meeting. Will I? The next meeting is, what's the date?
December 11th.
Yeah, you'll be running that meeting. I am traveling that week, so I won't be here. So you guys will do this without me. But I'll make sure Ray John has all my information.
You can zoom in.
I'm not zooming in, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
She's always looking out for you.
Oh, thank you. Just because you guys did. I don't know what you were thinking, but I'm more committed to the town. Anyway, all right, yeah, so just a heads up, that will be your meeting to run.
You'll prep me, right?
Yes,
Before you go.
absolutely. Well, you watch me flounder, you'll be fine. So, all righty, all right, now we need to
So
move.
we're going to move into executive
Yep.
session, right?
Yep. I move to enter into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to litigation per MGL 30, Chapter 30A, Section 21A, 3, CBK, noting that discussion in open session would be detrimental to the litigation position of the town. And to review and approve the release of executive session minutes of November 13th, 2023, and not to reconvene in open session.
Second.
All right, roll call vote for executive session, right? Or just
Yeah.
no? Don't we usually roll call to go into executive session? Thank
yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Let's start at the end, folks.
Folks, aye.
Sundaram,
Sundaram, aye.
Dave.
McKiernan, aye.
McKiernan, Hilberg, aye. All right, we're good. Let's go next door. Thank you, Kirby.